Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. Here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. Well, there's a lot of rehashing of the Pete Hegseth signal leak story from earlier this year. And they're trying to tie this into these latest boat strikes where they're wondering if the double tap mechanism that was used with one of the strikes to try to kill the survivors, the legalities of it, the constitutionality of it. I think the whole thing is going to become a major issue for President Trump. And it's going to be a lot harder to sell. It's going to be a lot harder to get away with, maybe is the better word, if you don't have the House after the next midterms. But maybe this can clear up before then. But there's no doubt there's attacks on Pete Hegseth over this. The same neocon warmongers that tried to get Pete Hegseth out of there earlier this year, they're at it again, trying to blame Hegseth. There's a lot of blame game going around. They're claiming this admiral is going to be the one that's going to take the fall. The one that Pete Hegseth mentioned yesterday, saying, oh, he oversaw it when I left the office. So we'll look into all of that. But it's mostly just rehashing of the same issue, which is the neocons, the deep state, the warmongers that are entrenched in D.C. are doing everything they can to try to remove anybody from the scene, anybody from Trump's administration that's not just all gung-ho for war 24/7. So it's the same story, it's just a different angle. But now, because of these boat strikes, it looks like they may have their opening to really get inside of there and figure out what's going on. Because the Democrats are going to do everything they can. They're going to try to get judges involved, lawyers involved. The whole thing is going to be a mess. Meanwhile, we're still not arresting the deep state. We're still not draining the swamp. And there's the problem. There's the problem. And it's the larger problem that I'm going to address today. I don't know what's going on in this White House, folks. It's beyond chaotic. Chaotic is not a problem. In fact, I could even see chaotic being a good thing. And I understand that President Trump likes to operate, keeping everybody off balance, keeping everybody guessing while he remains stable. I totally understand that's how Trump approaches this stuff, and I'm okay with it. I get it. But folks, this thing is falling off a cliff. This thing is falling off a cliff. I don't know if anybody's in control of it. I'm not even sure if they realize what's going on anymore outside of the White House. And it's like, okay, as long as the special interests and as long as the foreign interests are taken care of, then everything is fine. But I don't think there's a better example to show you the state of things in the White House right now than from the comments that Trump made yesterday to now the meeting that just concluded at the White House. Trump, it was a big announcement today. Trump is addressing the affordability crisis. Just yesterday, Trump said the affordability crisis was a Democrat con job. Folks, what is going on here? What is going on? It's a disaster, guys. Okay? It's a disaster. But hey, if you're satisfied with blowing up boats coming in, then I guess you're good. You're taken care of. It's just more of the same. Oh, we're hearing about how Joe Biden is a criminal again. We're hearing about how the auto pen was a forgery again. Still nobody arrested. Meanwhile, a corrupt Democrat gets a pardon from President Trump. We'll have that for you today. A corrupt businessman gets a pardon from President Trump. A potential terror attack was thwarted in Delaware from another foreign national. Yeah. Is Mike Lindell going to be running for Minnesota governor? It appears he's at least considering it. A man is arrested in Ireland for refusing to say that men are women. How about that? How about that? And I do have it, what I've been trying to avoid for so long, folks, this issue of foreign policy. So we may finally take that swing. We may finally do it. We've been trying to avoid it. It's so heavy. It's so controversial. We might just do it today.
This news update was brought to you by the 1776 Law Center, the official legal team of the Owen Report.
All right, guys, I've been saying this to my friends that I like to talk to about fitness and weightlifting. And I've been telling them how I'm like high as a kite when I'm at the gym now. And I've always kind of had that experience. I'm a sober guy, so I don't really have any chemicals to get me high, as you might say. So my high comes from the gym. And, you know, maybe it has some of the similar effects. You kind of get addicted to that dopamine rush when you're lifting weights and exercising and getting a good exercise in. But nothing like what's happened lately. I've always kind of had that workout high, that post-workout high. I don't know what it is now. I don't know what I would call it now, but it's like silverback gorilla raging high when I'm at the gym now. And I'm thinking, what is up with this? What is the deal? Where did this come from? And of course, it's the supplements from CHOQ.com. Now, I will tell you, I like this right here on the screen, the Male Vitality Stack Ultra. That is what I have been taking now for almost 2 months, maybe just over 2 months now. This is what I've been taking, and this is why I think the highs that I'm experiencing at the gym are not like anything I've ever experienced before. I think the testosterone levels are up. I think all the things are up there. The workouts are better for a man that's now on the wrong side of 35. That's the difference. That's the difference. And it makes sense when you look into it. Men's testosterone levels decline 1% a year on average after the age of 30. And your testosterone, it's more than just your manhood. It's critical for mental clarity, mood, sleep, overall vitality, energy. So that's why our friends at CHOQ.com, that's CHOQ, CHOQ.com, have formulated a blend of natural herbal supplements that support your body's natural testosterone production. And if you know me, you know I'm all about natural. You know I'm all about organic. So I really love this formula. And right now, you can get 25% off your CHOQ subscription for life. You heard that right. Just go to CHOQ.com, CHOQ.com, and use the promo code OWEN, and you can get 25% off any subscription for life. Are you hearing me right now? Coupon code OWEN at checkout, 25% off any subscription for life. You can't beat that. CHOQ is made in America, and their all-American customer service team is standing by to assist you. Just go to CHOQ.com and use promo code OWEN, folks, to get that 25% off your subscription for life.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right. I want to show you something that has happened in the last 24 hours to try and give you a bit of a understanding or a perspective as to why a lot of people are just looking at this administration and kind of shaking their head and putting their palm in their face and just saying, what in the hell is going on here? Because it's one thing to have a debate on a policy, a foreign policy, pardon, which is in the news today. You know, that's one thing. But it's an entirely different thing when you're getting, I mean, it's beyond bad communication at this point from the White House. It's beyond bad communication. And you're already seeing Caroline Leavitt. I got to be honest. I don't know. I hadn't thought of this before, but now I am. I wonder if Caroline Leavitt makes it. Now, Trump tends to have this gravity, and the people that are in there are extremely loyal to Trump. Extremely loyal. So I don't know. That might be a reach to say I don't know if Caroline Leavitt goes all 4 years. She might want to do it just to be there and stick around for Trump and say that she made it. But as the communication gets worse and she's kind of forced to go up there and start to ask or answer rather some harder questions that she's asked, I wonder if she doesn't have the same realization as Jen Psaki. And I'm going to show a video from yesterday's Pentagon press briefing. And we've covered this before. But they basically cleaned house at the Pentagon, whole new press team, entire new press access. And it kind of ties into that. So I'll withhold some of my commentary as how it went yesterday with this new Pentagon press room briefing. But it all ties into the communication issues. And so I just don't know how you can sit here as an honest person and say that something isn't wrong. You want to debate over what's wrong. You got your different angles or excuses, whatever you want to say. But I don't know how you can't watch what just happened over the last 24 hours in the White House and not sit there and scratch your head and say, what the hell is going on here? This doesn't make sense. And I guess a lot of people out there just have the memory of a goldfish. I don't know how else to put it. They just have the memory of a goldfish. And so I guess this administration or President Trump feels like he can just say whatever the hell he wants. And people are just going to cheerlead. And there's no actual comprehension or retention of what he says. So this is yesterday. You may recall, during the cabinet meeting, Trump called affordability a con job. He said there is no affordability crisis. It's a con job by the Democrats. Well, now there's a bunch of different issues. There's a communication problem with that alone, in that there is an affordability crisis. Everybody knows it. I've got news on that today. So there is an affordability crisis. It's not a Democrat hoax. Just like the Epstein list and the Epstein interest isn't a Democrat hoax either. No, these are real things. But I guess President Trump just figures most American voters are stupid. Most people that proudly wear the MAGA red hat now are stupid. So I can just say whatever I want and they just eat it up. And I suppose he's right. I suppose he's right about that. So there is an affordability crisis. But okay, fine. You're a politician and now you have to lie to the people to try to keep your poll numbers up or keep people voting for the party, whatever it is. So, okay, you lie. There's no affordability crisis. It's a con job by the Democrats. All right. Okay. So you got your own communication issue there because that doesn't resonate with people. But all right, fine. Maybe you can get away with that. But hold on. Today, in fact, I got a screenshot of this. Let me pull this up. Because this just happened at the White House. I'll put this on the screen. So yesterday, the affordability crisis was a Democrat con job. This is the White House today with some cabinet members behind him, some congressmen behind him. There were some businessmen in there today. This is from the Oval Office today. Trump taking action to make cars more affordable. So the entire purpose of today at the Oval Office with President Trump was to tackle the affordability crisis that just 24 hours ago he called a hoax. So somebody make this make sense. Somebody explain this to me. What in the hell is going on? Why is communication from this administration so bad? Is anybody thinking? Is anybody coordinating? Does anybody even care anymore? How can it be that bad? Is it all on Trump? Is it just Trump is just out of control and just says whatever he says in the moment? Doesn't have any meaning at all? It's not tethered to reality or advice or anything? What is wrong? How do you go from affordability being a Democrat con 24 hours ago to having an entire meeting from the Oval Office with the media to tackle the affordability crisis. How does that happen in 24 hours? They knew this meeting was going to happen today, didn't they? Didn't Trump know this meeting was going to happen? That's what I'm saying. Like, what is going on? Maybe Trump gets defensive. Somebody asks him about the economy that he's been bragging about, and it's not good. So Trump gets a little defensive. He says, oh, it's just a Democrat con job. It's just a defense mechanism. It's just a denial mechanism. All right, he just throws it out there. Doesn't matter, doesn't think, just, I don't like the way that question was asked, so I'm just going to call it a Democrat con job. There is no affordability crisis. It's a Democrat con job. Okay. Mr. President, you already had a planned meeting at the White House today with business leaders to tackle the affordability crisis. Did you not know that? Was that not communicated with you? Where is the communication breakdown? Where is the communication breakdown, not just from the American people to the president, which there seems to be all lines of communication are cut off. We covered that yesterday. It seems to be almost impossible for we the people to get into Trump's ear. And then what happens to the people that do get into Trump's ear? We covered it again yesterday. Mark Rasmussen gets in there. Finally, one of the people that gets what's going on, tells Trump the truth. The very next day, he's got a bunch of bidders trying to buy him out and shut him down and retire him. You think that's a coincidence? So you have the communication breakdown between we the people and President Trump, where there's like no communication. And then you have the communication now just internally from this administration of we've just done a complete 180 on yesterday's headline to today's headline, just a total 180. But don't ask why. Don't think that there's anything to it. Just go along with it. Just put on the red hat. Here's some red pom-poms and just go along with it. No, not here. Not thinking minds, not open minds, not independent media, not truth tellers, not observers. No, I'm sorry. We're gonna wonder what the heck's going on with that. I'm gonna wonder what transpires inside of this White House, the most transparent White House, the most well-organized White House. We hear all the things. It's the greatest of all time. Nothing is as good. Never will there be anything like this White House. That might be true. So I just want to know, how do you go from the affordability crisis is a Democrat con job to today, the affordability crisis, we're tackling it with the Trump administration. We're going to have a whole meeting at the Oval Office over it. How does that happen? That shows lack of communication. That shows total disorganization. But, it's not like this is a new thing. It's not like this is something just from the last 24 hours. You can go last month. Remember? The Trump administration actively evaluating portable mortgages. So the housing affordability crisis was so bad, Trump proposes a 50-year mortgage and then portable mortgages. To tackle the affordability crisis. To tackle the affordability crisis, Trump is doing 50-year mortgages and portable mortgages to tackle the affordability crisis that actually doesn't exist. It's a Democrat con job. And then today, this was part of the meeting today, there's an energy crisis. There's a cost of energy crisis. New fuel economy rules will save Americans up to $109 billion, White House says. So they're getting rid of a lot of the regulations on cars and on energy from the Biden administration, which is great news, by the way. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you. President Donald Trump's plan to lower U.S. fuel economy standards for new vehicles will make cars cheaper, saving Americans up to $109 billion, an administration official confirmed today. So again, this is going on at the White House. Trump is talking about rolling back these policies and saving Americans. What they're saying here, the White House said the Biden era regulations would have raised the average cost of a new car by nearly $1,000. So in other words, today at the White House, they were talking about car affordability and tackling the car affordability crisis. and the energy affordability crisis with all of the regulations from the last Democrat administration. So, okay, we've got a housing affordability crisis. We've got a car affordability crisis. We've got an energy affordability crisis, but also the affordability crisis is a Democrat con. What's up with that? Fuel savings versus car costs. Trump to roll back Biden vehicle rules. We're tackling the affordability crisis that doesn't exist. There's a whole page. I went here. There's a whole page of Trump talking about the affordability crisis. Actual quotes. Trump's economic promises timeline. And it's all these different quotes talking about how there's an affordability crisis. Electric bills. Inflation. It just goes on and on and on. All the affordability things. So there is an affordability crisis. And then he says it's just a Democrat con. So is it just bad communication? Is it just, this thing is just, there are no rails anymore? It's already off the cliff. This is from last month. Trump's affordability push is speaking louder than his words. So he's been talking about affordability. He's been talking about addressing the affordability crisis for years. And then they have the big meeting today about it, but it's a Democrat con. So again, I'm just saying, what is the deal here? What is going on? Where is the communication breakdown? And what happened to rational thinkers that are Trump supporters? What happened to rational thinkers that just see that and say, that's weird. What's going on? It's okay, guys. You're not in a cult. Well, maybe we're not so sure at this point. At least we're not so sure of your behavior. But you're not actually in a cult. It's okay to think differently. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to have issues. It's okay to have concerns. These are normal things. Unless you're in a cult, then you don't ask questions. You don't think. You don't retain any information. You have no comprehension. You just don't care. All you do is wave the pom-poms. Seems to be a lot of that going on the right wing. Seems to be a lot of that going on from Trump voters. And how much more do we have to deal with this? Same phenomenon. The White House declares all of the Joe Biden auto pen signatures null and void. Hereby declared null and void. And it's Trump making the announcement. They've all been terminated. There's no legal effect. So, in other words, it was a forgery. In other words, it was a criminal forgery. It was a criminal fraud of the Biden auto pen. Where are the arrests? So, I don't even know if it's worth trying to wrap our heads around it. But how can you not sit here as a critical thinker and look at all of this and just say, what the hell is going on? This doesn't make sense. And as I say, I think the philosophy remains true no matter who's in charge. If it doesn't add up, you know it's corrupt. So how much longer do we have to sit here and hear about all the criminals without any arrests? The criminals that stole our election, the criminals that illegally spied, the criminals that put innocent men and women in prison for political reasons, the criminals that censored our free speech, the criminals behind Joe Biden's auto pen, the criminals inside the Biden crime family. How long do we have to sit here and hear about all of this? Do we have to hear about this for 4 years and then nothing happens? If they were really savvy and they really had a plan, then they would move on all of these criminals right before the midterms, and that would pretty much guarantee a Republican victory for the midterms. You'd maintain the House, maintain the Senate, everything else. Approval ratings would go up. Morale would go up. But I haven't seen that. I have no evidence of that. I can't believe that that is the case. It's hard to believe it's not. It's so crazy. And yet there it is every single day. We're told about the big criminals. We're told about the deep state and everything they stole and all their corruption, and no arrests. And this is from the people that are in power. This is from the people that are in charge of making those arrests. These are the people that told us they would make those arrests. And then it's the affordability crisis doesn't exist. It's a Democrat con job. To the very next day, an entire dedicated meeting inside the Oval Office to address the affordability crisis. What the hell is going on? What in the hell is going on? And as if that's not enough of a what the hell is going on, we've got some interesting pardons today. Trump says he's pardoning Democrat Representative Henry Cuellar after bribery incident. Cuellar and his wife were indicted on charges including bribery in 2024. Now, Trump is saying he did this because it was politically motivated by the Biden administration, because Cuellar was critical of Joe Biden's open borders. Now, folks, I want you to understand how bad this is. I want you to understand how bad this is. If you look into the charges against Cuellar, they are open and shut. I mean, as clear as day, as clear as the sun in the sky at noon with no clouds in the sky. I mean, it is wide open what he and his wife were doing. No doubt they had this guy. Now, the question is this how politicians are blackmailed? Is this how politicians are controlled? And hey, you can get away with these crimes, but the minute you go against the party line, or the minute you do something against the person, or that's not in line with the person that's blackmailing you, you're going down. So yeah, Cuellar and his wife are doing this, but hey, it's okay. Just support the Biden administration, support the policies, and you'll be fine. And then, he stepped out of line, so here come the charges. We got you. And it's open shut, folks. You would not get a pardon, okay? You would not get a pardon for these crimes. If you and your wife were doing this, there'd be no pardon for you. But for Cuellar, the Democrat, there's a pardon. Now, you can say, okay, it was done for political purposes because of his comments on the open border. Well, guess what? Now you've opened up a whole nother avenue. So if it was political persecution, then why aren't you going after the person that politically persecuted him? I'm beginning to think maybe I'm crazy. Or is it that the world has gone so crazy that when you're not crazy, you feel crazy? And I explained this, and I think it was Michael Savage that coined liberalism as a mental disorder. I know Mark Dice rolled with that too. I don't know who came up with it first. It was either Michael Savage or Mark Dice. Liberalism is a mental disorder. And I said, well, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? Because I don't disagree. I agree. But what's the actual evidence, or how do we classify this mental disorder? And one of the classifications for me was that liberals cannot think. They cannot complete a series of thoughts. They don't understand action reaction. They don't understand choice consequence. Or it's like if there's deductive reasoning, if there's deductive logic that can reach its linear conclusion, they can't get there. So it's like you can go if there's 10 points in a linear timeline of deductive reasoning and logic, they can only get to like 2 or 3 maybe. And it seems like the same thing is happening now with people on the right. It seems like the same thing is happening now with whatever this new MAGA brand is. It's certainly not 2016 MAGA, not even close. It's totally different. In fact, it's very much opposite of what 2016 MAGA was. But I'm noticing the exact same pattern. They can't, it's like they get to level 1 or 2 in deductive reasoning, and then they just stop, or they can't go to the next level. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, so I guess I sound crazy when I'm able to actually do linear deductive reasoning to reach a conclusion. So it's like, okay, Trump pardons Cuellar, says it's political persecution. Okay, so why aren't you going after the people that politically persecuted him then? Who politically persecuted him? Who are the individuals? That's criminal activity. That's weaponization of government. We as Americans should stand loudly against weaponization of government. So if Henry Cuellar was charged and imprisoned for political persecution, then why aren't you going after the people that did that? Or are you lying? Or are you lying and that's not what happened? Okay, so let's go down a different line of thought. Why is Trump pardoning Henry Cuellar? He's guilty of the crimes. It's an open shut case. It's not even close. There's no room for error. It's all right there. So why is he pardoning him? Why? Was there a deal made? Is there some other dirt going around? Did Trump put him up to this and then he got punished for it? So now Trump's trying to free him? Somebody make sense of it. This is a disaster. Meanwhile, you've got Purple Heart veterans that were imprisoned for years, political persecution for January 6th, and they can't even get a pardon. But Cuellar can? Explain this. Somebody explain this to me. It is inexplicable. It makes no sense. Oh, and the Democrats are celebrating, by the way. They're very happy. Hakeem Jeffries backs Trump's pardon of Henry Cuellar. It's the right outcome. Yeah, the Democrats are happy. One of their own crooks. Suggesting the corruption charges against the longtime Texas Democrat were so thin that he wouldn't have been convicted anyway. Folks, that is a joke. Even Hakeem Jeffries. I don't know why the president decided to do it. Yeah, nobody does. Nobody can figure it out. It doesn't make sense. And no, the indictment wasn't thin, folks. Not even close. But that's not it. We got another pardon today. Or, well, it's a commutation of a sentence for David, not a Gentile. The commutation Trump issued to David Gentile wipes away all further fines and restitution. Gentile had been sentenced to 7 years for his role in a $1.6 billion scheme that defrauded thousands of investors. Prosecutors had been seeking $15.5 million in forfeiture, but I guess Trump is going to allow him to not face the punishment for that. Trump commutes sentence of private equity CEO convicted of fraud. President Trump commuted the sentence of David Gentile, a private equity executive who was convicted and sentenced to 7 years in prison for a fraud scheme. Gentile, the former CEO and owner of GPB Capital Holdings, and Jeffrey Schneider of Ascendant Capital were convicted in August 2024 on charges of securities and wire fraud. They were sentenced in May. It does not appear that Schneider's sentence was commuted. Why was Gentile commuted and not Schneider? Why was Gentile commuted and not Schneider? Anybody want to ask that? Anybody want to figure out why that is? Beyond why this guy got his sentence commuted to begin with. Seriously, what motivated this? What spurred this? Did you vote for this? I voted for this. You've never even heard of David Gentile. You voted for this. How many? Oh, I voted for this. How many of you even knew Henry Cuellar went down with those charges? How many people even knew that? Oh, I voted for this. You voted to pardon a Democrat crook. You voted to commute the sentence and relieve the fines of a equity crook, a fraudster. You voted for that. Is anybody going to ask these questions of the White House? Is anybody getting any answers to try to make sense of this, or do we just shut up and wave the pom-poms? It's all great. It's all part of the plans. 5D chess, 6D chess. Oh, okay. Well, explain that one to me. Maybe it is. Let's see it. Explain to me how it's 6D chess. Let's wrap our minds around that one, guys. Let's try to figure that one out. I certainly can't. But hey, we're pardoning Democrat crooks. We're pardoning fraudsters. MAGA, baby. Totally in control. That's what the people want. 60 chess. Well, I don't know too much about 60 chess, but I do know about making smart decisions with your money. I do know about that, and that's why a lot of people right now are moving into precious metals, ladies and gentlemen. Precious metals. Why? Because they're already seeing the cracks. The dollar buys less every month. Banks are showing stress, and the market is being propped up with printed money. It's not if it breaks, it's how prepared you'll be when it does. Here's what they don't want you to know. When the system starts cracking, the insiders quietly move first. That's why central banks, major institutions, and billionaires are piling into gold right now. Not to mention silver, way up. That's why we here at the Owen Report have partnered with Allegiance Gold. When paper money markets burn or the market falls, gold and silver don't. They're yours, not the government's, not the banks, not Wall Street's, yours. Allegiance Gold has been around for nearly a decade and is trusted by over 7,000 clients nationwide. Relationship-driven, A+ with the Better Business Bureau, 4.9 stars from real client reviews, transparent, and they focus on educating you first. Right now, they're offering up to $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments, whether through your 401k, IRA, or savings. They make it simple to move into something real before the next reset. So if you want to find out more about the $5,000 in free gold and silver with the qualified investments, call 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191. Or go to protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com. Just give them a call, folks. If you're curious what it's all about, just give them a call. See if you can qualify for $5,000 free gold and silver. Just give them a call or go to protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth and your freedom because no one else will. All right, I got a couple other news stories, we'll say. A couple other news stories here before we maybe get into the foreign policy discussion, we'll call it. Foreign influence discussion, perhaps the better way to put it. But we do have a couple news stories we can get off the desk before we do that. Police say University of Delaware student was arrested with a gun and was planning an attack on a school. Officials say Lachman Khan of Wilmington. Yes, I'm sure Lachman Khan of Wilmington. He's a Wilmington man. An undergraduate at the University of Delaware had a gun, ammo, and an armored ballistic plate and detailed plans for an attack on police at university in his vehicle when he was arrested during a traffic stop on Monday, November 24th, 2025. This just happened. The Wilmington, Delaware man has been arrested after police claimed he was found with a firearm, over 100 rounds of ammunition, an armored ballistic plate, and a notebook with outlines for a potential attack on law enforcement officers at the University of Delaware during a traffic stop this week. This is not good, folks. It looks like law enforcement officers are going to start getting attacked now after what we saw with the National Guard. And now this story, this is just a powder keg, man. Not good. Really not good. And, you know, I look at the administration, and we'll get back to this. You know, I don't think this is a situation where the administration doesn't care. I think they care a lot. I think the problem was they went pedal to the metal. They lost control. And then the priorities got so screwed up. And now the whole thing is just a sputtering, spinning, spiraling mess. It's just a sputtering, spinning, spiraling mess. I don't know who made the decision internally with this administration for the prioritizations that we've seen so far, but it's been a complete unmitigated disaster. And now it looks like you have a powder keg for more violence because of it. Unfortunately. But that's what it is. According to police, 25-year-old Lachman Khan of Wilmington, Delaware, was arrested and charged with possessing a machine gun and related offenses following a traffic stop At that time, officials said police initiated the traffic stop after Khan allegedly found operating a Toyota Tacoma in Canby Park West after hours. I don't know what after hours means. The officers ordered Khan out of the vehicle. He refused, resisted arrest, eventually taken into custody. An investigation into the vehicle, police said officers discovered a loaded handgun with 27 rounds, 3 additional fully loaded 27-round magazines for the Glock handgun. Police also found ammunition for a 9mm handgun along with armored ballistic plate in the vehicle. Police claim the officers discovered a notebook in the vehicle that included handwritten details of additional weapons and ammunition and how they could be used in an attack. Police also claim this notebook included information on how someone could hide from law enforcement following such an attack. More specifically, police claim the notebook found in Khan's vehicle allegedly referenced a member of the University of Delaware Police Department by name and included a layout of a building with entry and exit points marked. The map was labeled UD Police Station, officials claim. And they have posted much of this evidence, the Newcastle County Police. Now, here, we'll finish this story. In a letter released following Khan's arrest, Laura Carlson, interim president of the University of Delaware, said he was an undergraduate at the school. Going on to say, the university has temporarily suspended the student from the university, including a ban from all campuses while legal matters are being resolved. Well, gee, you think? Temporarily separated? Yeah, how about can we get a restraining order? Can we get if he comes back on campus, he's trespassing? I mean, this is insane. And if all of this bears out, and he was planning this attack, I don't really think he should be out of a jail cell to go back to a university. We have been working closely with law enforcement throughout this matter and are sharing this information with you now that we have been cleared to do so. There are no known immediate threats to the University of Delaware community. However, the press release describes evidence of a plan that targeted the University of Delaware Police Department. This is frightening to all of us. In a morning update, officials said Khan has been charged with resisting arrest, carrying a concealed deadly weapon, weapons violations, and related offenses. Officials said Khan was arraigned and committed in lieu of a $107,000 cash bail and has been turned over to the FBI for potential additional criminal charges. Well, if the notebook is as described, yeah, I think we got a big problem here. I think we got a big problem here. So this is a miracle that this was thwarted. Seems like this could have been another inevitable gunman attacking a university. And by miracle, there happened to be a traffic stop. The police discovered this, and now he won't be able to do it, thank God. That's a miracle. That's probably multiple lives saved, quite frankly. And this is not an isolated incident. It's like everybody wants to find a solution to these things. We try to go into the details of it. We try to go into the weeds of it. Everybody wants to be the genius that discovers the solution, the cause. Throw it all out the window, folks. Throw it all out the window. Yes, there are things that led up to this that we could have avoided, we could have stopped. You can talk about these things all day long. You can talk about them till the cows come home. But you know what's really abundantly clear here? Whether it's this would-be attacker or the attack on the National Guard or the last attack at a school or the attack at a school before that or the attack at a college or the killing of Charlie Kirk or you name it, the attempt on Trump's life. We have a lot of sick people, folks. There are sick, demented, twisted people in our country. Truly sick, evil, demented. So do they belong here? No, but they are. We have a mental health crisis. We have a political corruption crisis. And I think that when you combine these two, there is a certain element, there's a certain type of person that has a complete break. A complete break. And what's going through their mind could be a litany of things from they think they might be a hero. They think they might be able to get a message out there. Or maybe they just figure everything is corrupt. Everything is bad. So why don't I just join in on the fun? Just a total psychotic break. We have a serious mental health crisis in this country. Now, I wonder, was this guy on any pharmaceutical drugs? Are we allowed to ask that yet? Are we allowed to have that conversation yet? Or are we supposed to shut up? Because that's about 99.9% of the time, these psychotic people are on pharmaceutical pills. We don't talk about that, though. We're bombing drug boats, supposedly. We're bombing drug boats and killing those guys because they're bringing in fentanyl, which they voluntarily take. I don't endorse that behavior, but they do it voluntarily. A lot of these people are basically forced to take pills. A lot of these people are pressured to take these pills, and then they have psychotic breaks. And maybe they end up killing somebody. Maybe they end up harming somebody, a friend, a family member, a pet. It's a sign of a very sick civilization. And maybe somebody says or somebody thinks, well, you're in a country of 300 million people. You're going to have whack jobs. This is going to happen. You know, maybe I disagree. Maybe I don't think that's true. Maybe I don't think people are meant to be psychotic killers. Maybe I don't think that just because we live in a large country of 300 million people, that people are going to want to just kill innocent people for the fun of it, or for a political agenda, or a personal selfish agenda, whatever it is. Maybe I disagree with that analysis. Because it kind of seems like that's waving the white flag and giving up. Oh, yeah, you're just going to have some con that wants to attack a police officer. You're just going to deal with that. Yeah, you're just going to have an Afghan national that's just going to want to try to kill somebody in the National Guard. It's a big country. You're just going to get that. Yeah, you're just going to have somebody that stands outside of a synagogue, try to kill some people coming out of there. Doesn't even know if they're Jewish or not, but, you're just going to get that. Yeah, you're going to have somebody that goes to a school and decides to shoot it up because maybe it doesn't teach their trans ideology. Yeah, you're going to have somebody just show up to try to shoot President Trump because, they think he's racist or something. No, I'm sorry. I don't think any of that's normal. I don't care whether it's a country of 3 million or 300 million. I don't think any of that's normal. I don't think any of that's meant to be. I don't think any of that is inevitable. I think there are a series of factors that make it inevitable. But unless you're willing to address the factors or the issue at large of a mental health crisis in this country, then you're never going to stop it. There will be another attack. There will be another person that wants to target law enforcement. There will be another person that wants to target a school. Are we going to have the proper safety and security protocols to avoid a mass casualty event? I don't know. I guess it depends on where they go, but they're going. It's inevitable. We're not addressing the mental health crisis. We're not pulling these psycho killer pills off the shelves. We're not calming down the political corruption. We're ramping it up. It's not good. And then they log online. And then how does that help them with their mental health crisis where they're about to have a break? And they log online and see all the nonsense, all the craziness, all the hate, all the filth, all the disgust, all the war, all the death, all the lies. Drives an insane man to a psychotic break. That's what we're seeing. Is Mike Lindell running for governor? MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell files paperwork to run for Minnesota governor. So I don't know if that's him just keeping it open or if he really intends to do so. Maybe we can find out. This just broke today. Lindell for governor. By the way, Tim Walz just came out and said they're setting up a program to give illegal immigrants money. I'm not even kidding you. Tim Walz came out and said they're going to set up a program to give illegal immigrants money. Oh my gosh, Minnesota. What is going on? What is going on with you? And how is that not sedition? Tim Walz should be arrested. I'm serious, actually. Not for saying it. If any politician is taking taxpayer dollars, if any politician is taking public funds and giving it to known illegal aliens, people that are here committing a crime, and a politician is giving them public funds, then that's aiding and abetting. I want you arrested. I'm sick of this crap. We're pardoning Henry Cuellar, but we're not going after the Democrat cooks that are stealing our money and giving it to illegal aliens? This is what I voted for. Doesn't make sense, folks. It's time to be real. And, I was wondering this myself. I was talking to some friends about this. Because a lot of people, this was kind of the theme of yesterday's show, and most people agreed with me. But a lot of people are just seeing that nothing is making sense anymore. Nothing is making sense. MAGA's lost its mind. The Trump administration seems to not make any sense anymore. And they're just like, what the hell is going on with this? But see, the problem is now that you have all of these new MAGA people that have taken it over and just fluff Trump every step he takes, they'll sniff the fart right out of his ass, tell him how great it tastes. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change. And that's why I guess I get frustrated. And, people can think whatever they want. I don't really care. World's a crazy place. But that's why I get frustrated. And, I think I had a good conversation with Jake Lang. Doesn't mean we agree with everything, but you know what? I stand by what I said. If I address you or something you did or said on the show, I'll give you the platform if you care to take it. He did. So we hashed it out. Fair enough. Whether you agree with him or me or whatever you think of it, that's what happened. But that's why I'm sitting here. I'm like, I'm sorry. In the priority, in the grand scheme of all the things that are going on, Muslims are not my problem, man. It's just, is it a problem? Yeah. Are there issues with that? Are there things that we can discuss and address and maybe take action on? Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm not standing in your way. And if that's your big issue against Islam, I'm not standing in your way. I think most of it is a psyop. I think most of it is a foreign propaganda psyop, but that doesn't mean I'm for the Islamification. So I'm not in your way if that's your agenda. I'm not standing in your way. I'm just saying that's not going to save the country. You could deport every Muslim right now. You deport every single Muslim in this country right now. Do you really think anything is going to change? What's going to change? Are all the women under Sharia law going to take their burqas off and run free in the streets in their bikinis and jeans? Are all the men under the oppression of the Muslim agenda? Are all the Christians under the oppression? All the Jews under the oppression of the Muslims? We're all going to be free. We're all going to celebrate. We can read the Bible. We can celebrate our faith again. Yay, we saved the country. Deport every single Muslim tomorrow, and you tell me if that saves the country. Might save some local communities. Might save us some tax dollars. Might get a couple terrorists out of here. So, okay, could be a net positive. You think that's going to save the country? You think that's going to stop the bad foreign policy? You think that's going to stop the tax rates? You think that's going to stop the 50 million illegal aliens we have here? Most of those people are probably here illegally, by the way. Because if they weren't, they'd already be gone. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, if that's your issue, I'm not standing in your way. But if you think that's the issue that's going to save the country, you're nowhere near. You're nowhere near reality. You want to deal with the Islamification, the Islam invasion? You want to deal with that? Fine. But you know what? That's kind of down the list. Maybe we should go after the deep state arrests. You know, the people that we say stole the election. Maybe. The people that censor free speech. The people that illegally spy. The people that lie to us to send us to war. I don't know. Those might be bigger priorities than some Muslim communities popping up here or there. Just saying. What do you think would have a greater impact on the United States of America if we cut taxes? And I mean cut taxes. I don't mean like lower them a percentage point here or there. I mean cut them. I mean take the average American paying 30% of their income in taxes down to 2 or 3%. I think that would probably be better for the country than complaining about some Muslim communities and getting them out. What about arresting deep state criminals that steal elections and censor free speech and give bad intelligence and send our men to die in wars overseas? Run shadow campaigns to overthrow governments all over the world, including our own, steal our money. What about deep state arrest? What do you think would be better to save America? Actually arresting criminal deep state actors or deporting every single Muslim? You might actually get one of them. You might actually get one of them, and it's not going to be the deep state arrest. So what are you going to do? You think the country's going to get better? You think your life is going to get better? You think your bottom line is going to get better? So that's all I'm saying. It's just, it's not even a top 10 priority, probably. And if it's yours, I'm not standing in your way. It's fine. Go free all the oppressed American women. Go free all the oppressed white Christian women. Go free all the oppressed Jewish women with the Sharia law burqas over their head. They'll be celebrating in the streets when you free them. I can't wait to see them all running around free and happy with their jeans and bikinis. How many are there going to be? Millions, right? There'll probably be hundreds of millions the way you guys describe it. Can't wait to free all those women under Sharia law. It's going to be great. Or maybe we should think about freeing 300 million Americans from the burden of their tax slavery. Maybe we should think about freeing 300 million Americans from the burden of propping up foreign countries and foreign wars and foreigners. Maybe that's what we should be thinking about doing. Maybe that should be a higher priority. Yes? Maybe that would impact our country better than deporting every single Muslim. I don't know. Just a thought. But at the end of the day, it goes back to critical-minded people. 2016 MAGA are sitting here, and they're just saying, none of this makes sense. None of this is MAGA. None of this is what we voted for. None of this is what we stood for in 2016. It's quite literally the opposite. And then you got all these newcomers that are waving the pom-poms and kicking the legs, doing the high leg kicks and with their hats on. And we're just like, this is the most cringe thing I've ever seen in my life. And then they're telling us we're not welcome to the very party that we started. We're not welcome. Hey, listen, cheerleaders, this is literally our party. We started this movement. But hey, if this movement now stands for another war, more foreign aid, more foreign wars, more foreign entanglements, more deep state activity, then fine, you guys can have it now because that's not what we were in it for anyway. So, enjoy.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Navigating between the sane and insane. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
right, I'll tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what you're going to do. And I've kind of been unintentionally teasing this the last couple days. But I guess it was a deep tease, you might say. Because I've got this stack of news. I got this stack of videos and clips and reports and all of this. That is basically, it's going to be probably the heaviest, most directed, conclusive, convincing presentations that you're ever going to see as far as where is the real foreign influence and propaganda coming from and how overt it is, how obvious it is, and how now the tide is turning. So, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a clip where this is, it actually kind of ties into that. It kind of leads into that. But I'm going to show you a clip of the absolute state of MAGA now. And then I'll get into the recent developments on the whole foreign policy, foreign influence, foreign propaganda issue that we're dealing with. But let me go to this clip. And I saw this and I'm like, this is the absolute state of MAGA. This is the absolute and complete state of MAGA. And I guess I could lead into this. We'll introduce it now. So this is Cam Higbee here, and he's part of the new press team at the Pentagon. Now, if you're like me and you've been supporting Trump since 2016, you're looking at these new people inside the Trump support wing or the Trump influencers, social media, whatever you have. And you're saying, who are you people? Where did you come from? Who are you to dictate MAGA? You weren't here. We've been here. We've been season ticket holders. So what you'll find is most of these people did not support Trump in 2016 or in 2020. I've pulled the receipts. Now, to be fair, I'm not speaking about these two. These two, you can go back and you can find them supporting Trump as soon as 2016. So they don't fall into that category. They're like the 1%. 99% of these people, like a Jillian Michaels or others, 99% of these people that want to gatekeep MAGA now, a Mark Levin, all these other people that have propped up now that Trump is now also fluffing up, which I wonder if that's organic or not. All of them, about 90%, and maybe that's a low number, but 90% did not support Trump in 2016 or 2020. And I pulled the receipts, and it's very easy to do thanks to social media. You can go back and you can find it out. They were either DeSantis in 2020 or they were anti-Trump in 2016. 90% of them, 90% of these new MAGA types were anti-Trump 2016 and DeSantis in 2020. I've pulled the receipts. I look into it. It's 90% of the time. Now, I'm not talking about these two. This is formerly, I believe this was Kingsley Cortez, and now she's running the Pentagon White House press pool. And then this is Cam Higbee. This is the absolute and total state of MAGA, what you're about to see right here. Now, I want to be clear. I don't know either of these people. I have nothing against them personally. This is political coverage. All right. So before people start to get their panties in a bunch, or if either of these two see this, I don't know you. I have nothing against you personally. You're in the political world. You're open for political commentary. So they've got this new Pentagon press pool, and Kingsley is up there. She gets to run the whole thing, and you know, Higbee's got his access, and they're all taking the pictures. They're all taking pictures from the Pentagon and pictures at their desk and pictures of their press pass. And, oh, look at me. Look at my access. Look at how special I am. Look at how important I am. So, see, they don't care about results. They get access. I'm somebody that prioritizes results over access. And that's why I didn't take the Pentagon job, by the way. That's why I didn't take other offers from this administration, by the way, because I care about results, not access. And you're not gonna buy me off with access. You're not gonna shut me off with access. So yeah, I turned him down. I didn't want to be a part of this I didn't want to be a part of this slop. Total and complete slop. But hey, if you care about access and you're in for access, that's new MAGA. That's 2025 MAGA, baby. I get pictures. I'm at Mar-a-Lago. I'm in the Pentagon. I'm in the White House. I got a challenge coin. Look at my picture. Look at my press pass. So all of a sudden, results don't matter because they get access. So I'm going to play this clip, and then I'm going to explain how this represents new MAGA and why new MAGA is such complete slop. So this happens after the first new press pool yesterday at the Pentagon. This is what happens.
Absolutely. I'm Kingsley Wilson. I'm the press secretary here at the Pentagon. We're in the Pentagon briefing room, and it's been fantastic. Get to come to the Pentagon every day, and now you all do it as well.
Yeah. So this is my first question, and don't laugh. Does the DOW have any evidence at all of a French military plot to assassinate Candace Owens?
That is an interesting question. Not that I'm aware of, but, interesting question. I can try to find out and maybe let you know. I think that might be more of a law enforcement matter, though. Absolutely. I'm Kingsley Wilson. I'm the press secretary.
Let's just go back here. Let's just watch this one more time. Just to really I want you to soak in the cringe. I want you to just absorb that cringe. Yeah.
Does the DOW have any evidence at all of a French military plot to assassinate Candace Owens?
That is an interesting question.
And then the laugh.
Have any evidence at all of a French military plot to assassinate Candace Owens?
That is an interesting.
We're bombing boats off of Venezuela. We have no idea what they are. Don't tell me you know. You don't know. We're talking about land strikes in Venezuela. What are we talking about? Regime change, a new war? We're bombing Iran. We're providing military support for Israel as they continue to bomb 7, 8, 9 countries. Our support for Ukraine hasn't stopped yet. We're still funding and arming that. And you're going to go up here and you're going to use the backdrop of the Pentagon and you're going to giggle like schoolgirls in a Candace Owens got you video for social media. I'm sorry, but you're a joke. You're not a serious person. You don't belong in the Pentagon. Neither of you do. This is a joke. This is pure slop. This is pure embarrassment. And I like Pete Hegseth. I support Pete Hegseth. I don't want to see him go anywhere. But this is clearly now becoming a situation where I don't want to say Hegseth is in over his head. I don't know if that's true or not. But it's just like, folks, this whole thing is unraveling. This whole thing is completely unraveling. Foreign policy right now and foreign entanglements right now, these are like the biggest stories in the American media. And all of these people that got this new press pass and got this new access, and they're really feeling themselves right now, and then they don't even have the wherewithal. They don't even have the wherewithal to look in the mirror and say, hey, maybe I should take this a little more serious. Maybe we should actually try to set a new standard here and keep it professional and really get driving questions and driving answers for the American people. No, it's I'm going to get up there giggling like a little schoolgirl after I took my picture with my press pass and I took my picture in my new desk and I dunked on the Washington Post and I took my picture at the Pentagon on the podium in the background and I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to giggle like a little schoolgirl and I'm going to do a gotcha Candace Owens video for social media and put my brand on it. You're an embarrassment. You're a joke. It's pure slop. These should be important. These should be real leaders. These should be real men and women up there answering real tough questions. Serious people, not giggling like schoolgirls, not doing social media video shoots and photo shoots. This is an embarrassment. And this is the epitome of new MAGA right here. Now, again, I don't know either of them personally. We might get along great. They might be great people. Okay? This is not a personal attack. But you have a young, I'm pretty sure this is just a young housewife, formerly Kingsley Cortez. I don't know what her new name is now that she's married. She's a young housewife She's a young trad housewife running Pentagon press briefings. You say, well, so is Caroline Levitt. So what? So that's all we got now? That's all we can offer now? Whatever, fine. Pick whoever you want. And then here's Cam Higbee LARPing like a military person in his profile picture. As far as I know, Cam Higbee was never in the military, and I think that he's wearing the military garb there because he did a tour with the IDF. He went and traveled to Israel. I believe that's a picture from him traveling with the IDF covering the war. So, oh, look, I'm a military guy. I wear military garb. Look at my military uniform. I don't believe he's ever been in the military. I believe that's from news coverage with the IDF. And then he's going to go up there with his new access, and he's going to use the backdrop of the Pentagon to do a giggly gotcha Candace Owens video for social media. That is the absolute state of MAGA right there. That is the complete and total epitome of this new MAGA movement. Giggling like schoolgirls, giddy over their access, using it for social media clout, putting access over results. And this is why it's become so cringe. This is why it's all become so cringe, ladies and gentlemen. So here's what we're going to do. I'm about to get into the real heavy stuff. And I said this the other day, and I want to reemphasize. There is no debate. There is no debate. But it's important to really communicate this well, and it's important to really present this well. The number one foreign influence, the number one foreign propaganda, the number one foreign bad intelligence, all of this, the number one country of origin is Israel. It is just a fact. Now, if Israel wasn't getting hundreds of billions of dollars of foreign aid and military aid, then maybe Americans wouldn't care. But they are getting that aid. If Israel wasn't bombing, I can't even count how many countries, if Israel wasn't killing 100,000 people in the last 2 years, innocent women and children in the last 2 years, bragging about it, dancing on it, then maybe we wouldn't care. But they are. And we're funding it. So we do care. So what is happening? So the Israeli lobby and the Israeli loyalists, they want the $100 billion from you. They want your money. Simple as that. There's about to be another $20 billion contract, could be $40 billion contract coming up for them in 2028. They want that money. They want your $40 billion, your $20 billion, whatever the number ends up being. They want your money. So of course they'll spend $1 billion on propaganda aimed at you. Of course they will. It's worth it. If they get the deal, that's $19 billion at least in a return on investment. So of course they'll do that. And that's exactly what they're doing, by the way. Oh, but see, when somebody decides, well, Qatar is offering money too to do influence, I'll check that out. I'll go to Qatar. And then they want you destroyed. They want you killed. So only Israel is allowed to buy influence. But when Qatar does it, you're cut off. You're the bad guy. Even if you already took the trip to Israel. And we got evidence of that coming up. Now, here's kind of the difficult part that I think is important to communicate here so that things don't get misconstrued, which they obviously will be no matter what. But this is done intentionally. They want to make this about Jewish people. They want to make this about Jewish individuals, and they want to make this into some sort of an anti-Semite issue. It is not, it never was, and it never will be. Although I don't know about the never will be, because it is getting so bad where it is turning people into just radical anti-Semites. That is true. But that's not the point. That's not what this is. The reason why the Israeli lobby, the reason why the Israeli loyalists want to use this anti-Semite argument is to stop the realization that Israel is maybe the biggest reason why our foreign policy has been a disaster for the last 3 decades. And they don't want you to stop sending Israel hundreds of billions of dollars. So they just say you're an anti-Semite. No, we have a foreign policy debate. No, you're just an anti-Semite. No, I have a foreign aid debate. No, you're just an anti-Semite. No, I have an issue with foreign entanglements and I have an issue with war. I don't like it. No, you're just an anti-Semite. That is part of the propaganda. And it might be the most important part of the propaganda. To scare people away from looking into it, to scare people away from talking about it. And as they sit here and claim that they're fighting anti-Semitism, the greatest irony of all is that they're doing more damage to the Jewish individual than the very people that they're accusing of being anti-Semites. And it's all done intentionally to keep the foreign aid coming and to keep the killing and the war coming. Well, we're not going to fall for that here. And I'm not going to let you fall for it either. But I will say that the tide has turned so much on this issue, and the tide has turned so much on this debate that I'm almost to the point where I'm just done talking about it. Now, it's impossible to be done talking about it because it's one of the biggest stories. It's in the news every day. So it's impossible to not cover it if I'm going to cover news every day. But as far as this issue of trying to expose what's really going on or convince you that, yes, you're just looking at foreign propaganda here, you're just watching a foreign influence campaign here, this is going to be my last thrust. And I've even now started muting all of these Israel loyalists, all these Israel influence accounts. As soon as they pop up on my feed, I just mute them. I'm done. I'm so over it. I'm so sick of you people. You're all foreign loyalists. You're all traitors. You're all liars. I'm done. And most of the stuff you put out there is now just rage bait. Most of the stuff you put out there is just bait to get us to bite so that then you can wave your hands in the air and cry victim. I'm done. I'm not playing the game anymore. Quite frankly, I recommend you do the same. As soon as it pops up on your feed on X, just mute it. Just mute, done, don't want to see it, done, over with, sick of you. And the reason why I've reached this conclusion is because now, and after I do this today, I've realized, and it might even be true of today. That's why I'm still trying to delay doing it. But I've got it ready to go, so we're just going to do it. But it's to the point now where there's nothing more. Let's say this is a big issue for me with foreign aid and foreign policy. There's nothing more that I can do or I can say to really convince anybody. And it's starting to cross this threshold where me talking about it or others talking about it is actually now doing more harm than good, because now the Israeli lobby and the Israeli influence campaign is doing more damage to their own cause than anything. I mean, let's go with the names that they love to mention. The Israeli influence campaign, the Israeli propaganda campaign, the Israeli desperation campaign, you might say. They're doing so much damage to their own cause right now. They're doing more damage than Nick Fuentes could have ever imagined doing in his life. They're doing more damage than whoever named the name that they love to throw out there and blame for everything. They are doing more damage to their own cause right now than any of those individuals could have ever imagined doing on their own. And the same goes here. So this is the last thrust. And if you're not convinced that you're dealing with an Israeli intelligence operation trying to run your country and run your foreign policy after this, then that's fine. Then there's nothing more I can do to convince you. And that's fine. That's okay. Or maybe you like it and maybe you're okay with that. That's fine with me too. But for somebody like me that's sick of the foreign aid and sick of the foreign policy, it's now becoming detrimental to my cause to even talk about it anymore. Because eventually every American is going to see it for what it is. Eventually every American that continues to struggle financially is going to sit here and say, how is it that we're able to fund all these different wars and all these different foreign countries and foreign interests, but I can't even afford to go get groceries? I can't even afford my energy bill. Eventually everybody's going to be there. Maybe you can get away with this stuff when the economy is really humming and people aren't going under financially. Maybe you can get away with it then. Maybe you could get away with it if you were making deep state arrests, but neither of those things are happening. So you're not going to get away with this. And it doesn't matter where you go. Everybody sees it's happening now. Everybody sees it. Everybody's sick of it. So to them, now I'm saying get louder. Get louder. Keep talking. Keep shoving it in the Americans' face. Keep telling the Christians that their life is owed to Israel. Keep telling them that. Keep it up. I'm all for it now. I say go all the way. And I'll use some examples of exactly what I'm talking about right here, right now. That's how this is going to go. But I think we'll start by going back to the Pentagon and the press briefing. Now, notice this individual wasn't posing for pictures. This individual wasn't posting on social media and doing gotcha videos. He was there trying to do journalistic work. Here's the question he asked at the Pentagon yesterday.
It's been widely documented in mainstream Israeli papers that the Israeli government funded Hamas, which we also designate as a terrorist organization. Are we therefore reassessing our relationship with Israel because of this?
That would be a better question for the State Department, as they're the ones who have those foreign diplomatic channels.
Yeah, so in other words, of course not. Of course not. And I'm not here to answer questions like that. And I couldn't even if I wanted to. It's the same thing, folks. It's like, we're going to go after the people that did this on October 7th. Okay, I'm all for that. Those heathens and the barbarians that did that on October 7th, I'm all for it. Find them and get rid of them. End them. But you do know that the only reason that happened was because of an inside job stand down. And everybody knows it, by the way. Charlie Kirk knew it. General Mike Flynn knows it. Anybody with 2 brain cells knows that was a stand down, folks. So you're going to go after the people that stood down too? Oh. We're going to go after all the people that supported Hamas, like Qatar. Oh, okay. What about the fact that Netanyahu and Israel supported Hamas? Not them. Oh, I see. That's interesting. We're going to go after the people that are responsible for October 7th. Hamas. All right, you're going to go after Hamas. That's right. What about the people that stood down and let Hamas in? Nope. I don't want to hear about that. And this is why, to a certain extent, if we want to have healing as far as foreign policy and as far as foreign relations are concerned, I don't think that process can ever begin if we don't get the truth about September 11th and we don't get the truth about October 7th. Because you have to understand, when somebody comes up to me and we're talking about the Islam issue, and somebody comes up to me and says, but don't you know what Islam did on September 11th? It's just like, oh my God. Oh, really? Like, but Hamas, October 7th. You're just like, oh, geez. Oh my gosh. You just don't belong here. You just don't belong here. You're not even trying to get to the truth. You're not trying. You're not interested. Or whenever you run into something you don't like, you just stop. You just stop there. Oh, you believe the official narrative of September 11th, do you? Okay. Yes, you're clearly smart enough. You've clearly done enough research to comment on geopolitics and foreign policy if you believe the official 9/11 narrative. I should trust you to do the deep research to understand the issues with foreign policy and geopolitics. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you won't address the stand down on October 7th. Oh, well, clearly you're so informed and you understand things so greatly. I should trust you and your takes on geopolitics and foreign policy and foreign relations because you got it all figured out. Yeah. That's convincing. That's how people think. Leaked emails show how Act for Israel, a U.S.-based pro-Israel advocacy outfit founded by Israeli-American actor Noah Tishby, secretly coordinated with Israel's government to shape U.S. media coverage, likely violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act, Connor Eccles reports with DropSite News. The documents show that the group arranged individuals for IDF delegations, placed pro-Israel content in major American outlets, and ran media junkets that required participants to publish pro-Israel articles. Advisors like Joshua Trevino also appear to have done undeclared PR work. The leak offers a close look at how pro-Israel activists quietly advanced Israeli government narratives in the U.S. while publicly posing as independent advocates, raising new questions about undisclosed foreign influence. Full story in Responsible Statecraft, linked below. Headline, Inside Israel Shadow Campaign to Win Over American Media. Well, nobody noticed that. Nobody noticed that there was a shadow influence campaign to prop up and support Israel, right? Nobody noticed that. Wow, how did they get away with that? It was so well done and so hidden and so nuanced. I can't believe that anybody ever noticed it. Yeah, it wasn't overt. It wasn't obvious. It wasn't in your face at all. And folks, I'm going to tell you one other thing. There's going to be a lot more leaks coming out. There's going to be a lot more leaks coming out. And maybe just to give you a little inside baseball here, I think that it's important for people to understand that the risk that you take publishing stuff like this is extremely high. It's an extremely high risk. It's an extremely dangerous business. And it requires so much due diligence. I'm sure that it took him weeks, maybe even months, to put all that story together and do all the background checking and everything to present it in an accurate manner. That is extremely heavy lifting stuff. And if you're asking me, well, how did you know? How do you know new leaks are coming? Well, how do you think, folks? How do you think? How did I know that a popular congressman from Florida was about to have some heat and there's more coming? It's an extremely dangerous place to be in the world of reporting and journalism. And you have to be so patient to sit there and work on a single story for weeks or months just to do it right. So when you start to see other leaks and other similar stories popping up, you need to understand the risk that these people are taking. And we're not talking about leaks where somebody puts out some chat forum that shows a bunch of racists in a chat group or a bunch of anti-Semites or whatever in a chat group. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real political influence, real political money, real political agendas. Not a bunch of kids in a chat group. I'm talking about the real rich and powerful political movers and shakers. The types of stuff like WikiLeaks does that puts Julian Assange in jail for years. The type of stuff that Michael Hastings does where his car blows up. You understand? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if more of that starts happening. And it's all about presentation when you're talking about propaganda. It's all about presentation. Here's an example. 2 headlines from NPR. 1, Vladimir Putin illegally annexes territories in Ukraine in spite of global opposition. So Putin does it. He's illegally annexing. All right. NPR. During the war in Gaza, Israel drastically changed the map of the West Bank. So Israel does it. They're just changing the map. Putin does it. It's illegally annexing territories. See how that works? It's all about presentation. Now, if you really want to see where this is going, and this is why I'm done, folks, after today, this is why I'm done. Again, I'll still cover the news. It's not like the news is going anywhere. I'm still going to cover news. But as far as an agenda to convince you that the number one foreign influence campaign, the number one foreign propaganda campaign against you, the American people, is coming from Israel, there is no further convincing after today. It's over. It's everybody sees it. It's so dramatic now. It's so over the top now that now it's just, I'm doing a disservice covering it. Now it's just like, let them go because they're just exposing themselves. And eventually now it looks like probably 2026, but by 2028, being anti-Israel is the only way you're going to win an election. And yes, that is the pendulum. That is the pendulum. But if you want to see where it goes, if you want to see how bad it's going to get, if you want to see how nasty it's going to get, look no further than this right here. This is an Israeli commentator, journalist, I don't know, whatever she wants to call herself, journalist and commentator. That's what she calls herself. She's the Middle East expert. Well, that's good. You can be the Middle East expert. America's not in the Middle East, but you would love us to be part of the Middle East, and America is now becoming the Middle East thanks to this. So Emily Schrader here, and by the way, she's I'm assuming she's Israeli. She's in Israel, but she's of course doing media in English because her job is to indoctrinate and propagandize the American people to support Israel. And so now that support is waning, she has to be working overtime. So she says, America first, America only is a dangerous fantasy. I want you to hear that loud and clear. So that's what I'm saying. I don't need to do this anymore. They're saying it. Oh, you're America first, you're America only? Never going to happen, American. Oh, you want America to be in charge of its own fate? You want America to thrive? You want its own people to be benefactors of their own tax policies? Never going to happen. It's a dangerous fantasy. You'll never get America first. You'll never get America only. It's a dangerous fantasy. This is their hatred for you. They hate you. And they've been getting their rocks off for years, stealing your money and convincing you to hate Muslims. Game's over. It's over. So keep talking, Emily. Please. In fact, Emily, come on the show. Please come on the show and tell my audience how America first and America only is a dangerous fantasy and how bad it is. There can't even, in fact, why even America itself? Just get rid of America. We can't even have America. What should we call America now? Should we just call America Israel now? That'll solve all of our problems. And then it's, when the U.S. withdraws, the vacuum is filled by China and Russia. Okay. First of all, I don't even believe that. But second of all, so what? So what? The vacuum of what? Production and manufacturing? Yeah, already happened with China. Our politicians sold us out. Just like they sold us out on foreign policy. Starting to get it? Because Americans are. So just remember, these are the people that want to keep you on the foreign policy plantation of Israel first. And they say it out loud. America first, America only is a dangerous fantasy. Their words. I say keep talking. I say louder for the people in the back. Here's another example. Folks, the mask is slipping. There's no other way to put it. The mask is slipping. The truth is coming out. Their true intentions, their true feelings, their true thoughts are coming out. The CEO of Israeli American Council, Ilan Carr, has made statements that are extremely controversial. Let's go to these statements right now.
And so we are living in a time of miracles and unprecedented opportunities. And the challenge for us here, and with this I'll end because this is key. The challenge for us here is to leverage Israel's successes into our successes and our victories here, because we are one people. Israel's weakness is ours and Israel's strength is ours. And now that Israel has turned the entire geopolitical situation on its head, our job in the diaspora is to leverage those wins and win here. Do to our enemies here what Israel did to its enemies there. And on that, the IAC is focused.
So what is more offensive to you? This idea that somehow America's success is tied to Israel's success? By the way, America existed before Israel did in 1948, by the way. In 1948, America had already been around for quite some time, actually. So America did quite fine without Israel, by the way. Quite well, actually. You could even argue that America, you could actually make a case that the downward trend of America actually began after Israel was founded and started hollowing us out and destroying the world with its foreign policy. So what's more offensive, that or maybe this? Do you need to hear this one again?
Leverage those wins and win here. Do to our enemies here what Israel did to its enemies there.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Here. Do to our enemies here what Israel did to its enemies there.
Do to our enemies in America what Israel did to its enemies there? Well, we all know what Israel did to its enemies there. They killed them. They killed them. The mask is slipping, folks. The truth is coming out. They can't help themselves. Just like Mark Levin saying that white people are inherently bad because of their DNA being anti-Semitic. America's success is only tied to Israel's success. Bullshit. Give us all of our money back. Give us all of our military technology back. Let's see which country survives without the other. Let's see. Why are you guys acting so desperate to keep the support rolling in from the United States of America if Israel is so great without us? Why are you so desperate to keep our money coming in? Why are you so desperate to keep our military support alive and the political support and the cultural support and the social support from the American people? Why are you so desperate to keep it going if you guys don't need us? It's an unreal. It is an unreal revelation happening right now. Unlike anything, maybe unlike anything I've ever seen in politics. It's virtually the mirror of the radical left coming out and being for, celebrating abortion and celebrating trans kids, celebrating, killing CEOs and everything else. It's like, this is like the mirror except for the right. The big reveal is here. And everybody's seeing it. And just like the radical left was rejected, this radical right is going to be rejected. And I want nothing to do with it. I want nothing to do with it. And smart people right now are starting to realize, because it's always been kind of socially understood and socially, politically expected even, that, oh, you're on the right, you support Israel. Okay, fine, fair enough. Nobody's really thought too much about it. But now, totally different ballgame. Same thing on the left. It's like, oh yeah, we want gay people to have rights. Like, we want gay people to feel comfortable. Like, okay. Oh no. We want gay people to have access to your kids sexually. No. I thought we were just like, hey, gay people can exist and we're cool with that. No. We just want gay people to have access to your kids, actually. Okay, never mind, I'm out. It's like, oh, okay. Same thing happening on the right. It's like, yeah, we support Israel. They're right wing over there, and they kind of stand up against the radical people in the Mideast, and they're our ally over there. Okay. Actually, no, we need you to put Israel first. We need you to back all of Israel's wars and all of its foreign policies, and you actually work for us now. What? Yeah, and we're going to do to our enemies in America what we did in the Middle East. Huh? So that's why even people that have supported Israel for years, even people in media that would normally not want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, even they're coming out and saying this is too far. It's like, hey, I'm all about supporting Israel's and I stand against anti-Semitism, but this is not what I signed up for. Hey, I want gay people to be treated with respect in the United States of America. Okay. Whoa, you want gay people to have access to my kids sexually? No, I didn't sign up for that. It's the same thing. Same thing. Now, here's my big concern if we don't figure this out. This was in the news Monday. IDF to receive iron beam laser interceptors at the end of the month. The system, they've been developing it. The Israeli military, the defense ministry will be receiving that, I guess next year. They're going to be implementing that. The iron beam. Now, this is more technology and more financial support that they've gotten from the United States of America. So this is funded with American money and supported with American technology. But whatever. I don't care if Israel wants to have an iron beam and an iron dome and everything so that their people don't get bombed. I'm for that. I didn't like it when Iran was bombing Israel. I didn't like it watching innocent Israelis, many of which don't even support the Netanyahu regime, couldn't even go to work and were going in and out of bomb shelters all day. I didn't like that. So I had no problem with them having this technology. Here's the problem, folks. If we don't completely decouple from the Middle East, the United States of America will become the Middle East. In case you haven't already noticed, it's already happening. The ancient struggle between Jews and Muslims does not belong in the United States of America. Now it's fully encompassing our body politic, and we can't even fix our own country because of it. And if you want to know how bad this is going to get if we don't correct course, I'd say we maybe have 4 years to fix this, maybe less. I'd say we have 4 years to fix this, but it might already be done, to be honest with you. The deal might already be done. We're going to get hit, and we're going to go fully into the Middle East. Why do we need a golden dome? Tell me why the United States of America needs a golden dome. Is it all about the military-industrial complex? Is it all about the tens of billions of dollars that are going to be given to these weapons contractors? Or are we going to become the Middle East? Do we now have to expect getting bombed all the time? Do we now have to expect missiles flying into our country all the time because our politics are that corrupt? Because our geopolitics and our foreign policy is that hated around the world that now we have to have a golden dome to protect our country? It's like people need to see this. People need to get their head on straight. They'll say, oh, you're against America having a defense system? When did I say that? Who's against that? No, I'm against America going into a state of being where we have to have a missile defense system. We shouldn't need a missile defense system. I shouldn't need a golden dome. And if all of a sudden we do, I want to ask why. Who wants to bomb us and why? These are the right questions. These are the big issues. That's where we're going, folks. If we don't correct this course, the United States of America will be the Middle East, I'd say 4 years. And yes, there'll be terror attacks, there'll be bombings, there'll be false flags, and it'll be the same crap that's been going on in the Middle East for decades, for centuries, will now be here in America. And if we don't stand up and say no to that now, no matter how hard it might be, with the incoming attacks and the name callings and the accusations and everything that comes along with that, if we don't stand up with this right now and say, no, we are decoupling from the Middle East, we refuse to let the United States of America turn into the Middle East, then it's inevitable it's going to happen. And we will need a golden dome, and you will be sitting here, an American Christian or non-religious, whatever. You'll be sitting here as an American spiraling in the toilet of Middle East politics of Jews versus Muslims. And that will now encompass your country. It will become the Middle East, folks. That's what it is. That's why we need a golden dome. That's why all the Middle East propaganda is encompassing the political conversation, whether it's Muslims or Islam or Qatar or Israel or Jews, all this stuff. It's all Middle East. It's all Middle East culture, politics, civilization, and it's all coming here now. They are turning America into the Middle East. And we're too dumb to even notice it. We're too brainwashed. We're too propagandized. We're too dodo birdish to even wake up and smell the coffee. But that's what's going on. And I, quite frankly, don't want to see it. I don't like seeing this. Who supports this car? What kind of psycho does this and supports this? Billie Eilish and Mark Ruffalo had the courage to speak against the slaughter of children by Israel. So Israel put their name on bombs. Billie Eilish, you can go to Gaza. And then they signed their name and they put the star on there. They put another one here for Mark Ruffalo. So it's like, what's that lady's name? Like Rachel, Miss Rachel, who does kids content. Miss Rachel said it's not anti-Semitic to want kids to live. And then she had a victim of an Israeli strike in Gaza, a little like 3-year-old in Gaza with a prosthetic leg, got blown off by Israel. And so now she's the anti-Semite of the year because she doesn't like seeing kids blown up and maimed. Again, let's see, who blows up and maims kids? Okay, we don't support that. Who mangles kids? Who chops up kids? Starting to see it, starting to get it. Who supports that? I don't like Billie Eilish's politics. I don't like Mark Ruffalo's politics. But I'm certainly not going to put their name on a bomb like I want them to die, because that's what it is. What did the guy say? He said, we're going to treat our enemies in America like we treat our enemies in the Middle East. What do they do to their enemies in the Middle East? They kill them, folks. And they're putting their enemies in America. They're putting their names on bombs. How can you still support this? By the way, it's not new. There's nothing new to this. Israeli kids have been doing this for decades. This is from 2016 when Israel was bombing Lebanon. Yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Am I right? These are children. These are children ladies and gentlemen. These children look like they're younger than 12 years old, and they're putting people's names on bombs. Who supports this? What kind of psychotic crap is this? What kind of a Christian are you if you support this? You want to normalize children putting names on bombs to kill people? You want to normalize that? There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with your culture. I don't want it here. I don't want it here.
No.
Now, this is a young girl in Israel asked about the people in Gaza. I don't know if she's ever signed any of the bombs, but sounds like she'd probably be into it. Here's her response. She was asked about the people in Gaza.
No, they don't deserve it. What I care? Kill them. I don't care. No, I know all about them. I don't trust them. I want them out of here. I want to be civilized with Jews from Israel.
And as the Bible says, this place is for us. It's promised for us, so they can starve to death to pay on the things that they've done to us on the 7th of October.
Stand down. Says he wants to kill all of them. All right, I can't take it anymore. They also don't appreciate free speech. So they don't mind just killing innocent people, killing innocent kids. They also don't like free speech. This is a Palestinian with Israeli citizenship. She had a beauty salon in the north. She was arrested by Israeli police because she shared posts on social media with sympathy for the victims, the children victims of Gaza and Rafah. So you get arrested for that. You get arrested for speech against killing kids in Israel. By the way, Israel just opened up the Rafah gate between Palestine and Egypt. Remember, everybody was saying they don't control that. They're not keeping Palestinians in there. Well, it turns out they were. They just reopened the gate. So what happens? What happens when Christian preachers go to Israel and preach the gospel of Christ? Have you ever seen this? Let's see what happens. Now it looks like an Orthodox rabbi comes over there. He sees all the kids harassing this guy, and it looks like he's like, hey, guys, this is too much. You guys shouldn't be doing this. So it's nice to see the Orthodox rabbi trying to set things straight here. By the way, have you ever read the Quran? You know, it actually shares a lot of the exact same testimony of the New Testament, like the virgin birth and Jesus and his life and being a prophet. Well, anyway, that's just one person. That's just one person preaching the gospel of Jesus in Israel. There's no way it happened again, right?
Elohim love Israel. Praise God. God love Israel. May God have love Israel.
She gets spit on.
The name of Yeshua, right?
Whoa, whoa.
Attacked. Now she's getting attacked.
He slapped my face.
Wow.
He slapped my face. Church people, you're really breaking my heart. Elohim.
There's your greatest ally, Christians. So I predicted a couple weeks ago, you were probably here when we made this prediction, that the Democrats are now going to go all in on the anti-Israel stance ahead of the midterms. They've seen the tea leaves. They've done the measurements. And now that's what the Democrats are going to do to win the midterms. And quite frankly, I think they'll be successful, at least right now, at this rate. So the Democrats are now going to run on the anti-Israel platform. And I predicted that a couple weeks ago. Now there is more evidence upon us to prove it. So allow me to share. Here is AOC.
Zero. I have never taken $1 from AIPAC in my entire political career. In fact, early on, shortly after I won my primary, and there's reporting on this, AIPAC approached me offering tons of super PAC money. And I turned them down. I've been really quite oppositional to AIPAC. Zero. I have never taken a.
Now you have Democrats that are giving AIPAC its money back. They're giving AIPAC the money that AIPAC gave them back. That's how all in they are. Now, Ro Khanna, who's maybe the best on the Democrats, and I do like Ro Khanna, AIPAC has been attacking him. And he says, AIPAC says that Ro Khanna is spreading blood libel against Israel. Well, here's what Ro Khanna had to say about AIPAC, which Israel is now accusing him of blood libel. Listen to this.
AIPAC just poured money into a series of ads in my district calling me a liar for speaking out about the truth in Gaza. You might have seen these ads on Instagram and Facebook yourself. They're asking you to disbelieve what you've seen on your own phone with your own eyes. AIPAC wants to weaken me electorally and prevent me from having a seat at the table in the leadership of our country. Now ask why? Because I won't cave to the special interests. I won't cave to the special interests when it comes to Gaza. For that matter, I won't cave to the special interests on Medicare for all. I won't cave to the special interests on accountability in tech and AI. And I won't cave to the Epstein class, rich and powerful men who are totally disconnected from ordinary Americans and believe the rules don't apply to them. Elite impunity. I'm under attack because I take no PAC money, no PACs, never have, no lobbyists, no corporate checks, not now, not ever. AIPAC is attacking me because I choose to fight for peace and because you stand with me. Big money is lying about me because they can't buy me, because they can't buy us. The corporate interests do this every time I've stood my ground for the people. Yet I stand for peace like I have time and time again. Like the time I led the bipartisan effort with Thomas Massey to prevent the war in Iran. Like the time I led the fight with Bernie Sanders to prevent the war in Yemen. Like the time I originally ran for Congress as a 27-year-old to stand up against the Iraq War back in 2004, the first anti-Iraq war campaign in the country. I lost, but we stood up for the right policies. I did not give up then, and I will not give up now. The fight is in my blood. My grandfather spent years in a British jail as part of Gandhi's independence movement. My parents came here as immigrants and raised me in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. They worked hard and taught me to stand up for what is right. They taught me a love of country. Loving your country sometimes means speaking out for things that are wrong and taking on battles that others are too afraid to touch. I've been mocked in Congress for voting against a bloated defense budget. I was sometimes the only vote. I've been sabotaged by lawmakers who I even considered allies because I dared to stand up for a Palestinian state. Look, APEC spending is not going to intimidate me. It never has. Together, we will build a movement for justice and human rights. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for having my back. Let's show APEC and the special interests what the people can do in this country.
Well, get ready, folks. Get ready. I'm telling you right now, the Democrats are going to run on this. And even if they haven't made up their mind about it yet, or maybe they're just kind of dipping their toe in the water right now to check the temperature, they're going to realize how popular it is. They're going to realize it's their best chance to win election or re-election, and they're going to go all in. They're going to go all in. Which I guess if you're, against the Israeli-controlled foreign policy on the right, I guess that's good news for you because now the heat will be off you. All the hatred and all the heat and the threats and everything that you receive for that is now going to be fully redirected back at the left once we really get into the midterm cycles. But just get ready. I don't even know if I want to show all these AIPAC posts, but there's just dozens of them. AIPAC is so desperate to convince Americans that you owe them everything. It's wild, folks. I mean, I'll show you some of them here. America's alliance with Israel helps keep our nation safe. Really, how's that going? Is our nation more or less safe with our ally in Israel? Is it more or less safe? Because we keep hearing about how unsafe it is. So then you tell us it is safe thanks to Israel? Doesn't seem that way. Okay. I mean, there's dozens of these. There's dozens of these. It's all day long from AIPAC now. I'm telling you, the grift is over. Israel is a vital American ally on the cutting edge of medical innovation. A strong U.S.-Israel partnership makes both nations safer and more prosperous. So what? I have to continue to give money to Israel to have a good relationship with them in the medical field? You'd think that that would be free. You'd think that in the medical field, doctors and surgeons and innovation, you think that that would just be free. The world would just be sharing that with one another. But no, I guess with Israel, that is only going to be dependent on whether or not you give them your money or not. That's an interesting approach. Let's see how it works out for them. It just goes on and on. I can't. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on from the AIPAC stuff. Let's just move on. You get the point. All right. Oh my gosh. This is actually hilarious. This is a bit of comic relief here from Roseanne Barr, who, if you go back far enough in time, you'll find her saying things that I guess today she would consider anti-Semitic about Israel. But, okay, this is a new one. This is actually comic relief here from Roseanne Barr, but take it at face value for what it is. Here's Roseanne Barr talking about the real threat to America.
The marriage of Christianity and Islam,
Right.
which has killed the Jews and hate the Jews. And Chrislam, they want to be the world's, the one world religion because they want control of Jewish lands with no Jews in them. And we never talk about it because we're not allowed to.
Well, there's a lot of conversation going on about Israel today. That's for sure.
All bullshit. All 100% Muslim Brotherhood bullshit. That's who controls our media, not the Jews. The Muslim Brotherhood controls our media.
Really?
The marriage of Christianity and Islam.
I mean, folks, do you realize how ridiculous that is? That is hilarious. Not one thing Roseanne says there is true. It's like, do I even bother addressing it? It's so ridiculous. But see, that's what I'm saying. That's the lie. That's the desperation. I don't know why Roseanne is doing this. I don't know why Roseanne cares about Israel so much. This is a new thing. This is her newfound thing in the last 12 months. She wasn't always like this. I don't know why Roseanne is doing this all of a sudden. But it's just none of what she says is true. It's actually hilarious that she would say any of that. It's like, do I even bother addressing it? All the stuff that she just said, you will not find anywhere. You'll not find it anywhere. Nobody is doing or saying or acting in the ways that she's saying. But see, that's the point. That's what Roseanne, for whatever reason, wants you to think. Roseanne wants you to think that that's really happening. None of that is happening. All we want is America first. And since we can't even get that, now we want America only. That's all we want. We just want Americans to benefit from American policy. We just want American taxpayers to benefit from American tax dollars. That's all we want. We don't, the foreign policy in the Middle East has failed. It has failed us. We're sick of the foreign influence. We don't want anything to do with it. So she just makes up an entire litany of bullcrap that none of it exists to get people scared or thinking that that's really what is being fought over. And it's just all complete lies. I stand against it all. So, I'm sorry, I forgot about this one. It's even more ridiculous. And I've got more examples of this too. So now the new propaganda wave is, okay, folks, it's just this is all now how the Israeli lobby is losing so badly that this is their response. They're losing so badly. So everything you're seeing now is in response to that. What you just heard from Roseanne Barr, and now what I'm about to show you here. So this is the new trend. So, okay, we're losing badly. How do we win over the right wing again? Let's say it's the founding fathers. Look at this. Founding father John Adams. I really wish the Jews again in Judea had an independent nation. You do. You have Israel. So what are you doing? So now it's the founding fathers wanted you to support Israel. By the way, this has nothing to do with Israel. This has nothing to do with the modern state of Israel. And I don't know. Honestly, you can't find, there is no major thrust or issue over Israel not existing. It is a fringe issue. No, barely anybody talks about it. It's a very low volume issue. Nobody says Israel shouldn't exist. Well, I can't say nobody. You can barely even find it on a map, the group of people that say Israel shouldn't exist. I'm not saying that it's not out there, but the volume is so low on it, it doesn't even matter. So they just make up these straw men. So, but now it's, oh, the founding fathers supported Israel, so you have to too. What? It's not even true. Here it is again. George Washington. He wrote a letter to the Toro Synagogue talking about how great the Jews were. See, so, it's the founding fathers. So see, if you don't support Israel, you're not like the founding fathers. And again, if you actually read the quotes or you understand the context of what the founding fathers were saying, it has absolutely zero to do with the modern day debate about Israel and foreign policy. Zero, nada, nothing. It's a straw man. Now, it's not just this account that I showed you, but it's other accounts sharing the same propaganda. Here's Cassie Akiva saying the same thing. George Washington to the Toro Synagogue in 1790. Who put you guys up to this? Seriously, did you guys all in one day just decide you're going to start promoting how much the founding fathers talked about Israel or Jews? Or did you guys just all decide that in a single day? By the way, there's tons of more. I'm going to skip through these for the sake of time because we're already into the third hour and we're skipping the hour break here. So I guess you guys all organically started posting about the founding fathers at the same time to try to get us back onto the Israel plantation. I'm sure that was totally organic, completely. Okay. There's so much more of it out there. I'm moving on for the sake of time. Let's go back to Randy Fine. Well, I don't even want to play this clip, but get ready for this. This is going to be the new term, mainstream Islam. Mainstream Islam. Get ready to hear this everywhere. This is going to be their rebranding of radical Islam. This is going to be their rebranding of everybody here needs to hate Muslims and it's okay to hate Muslims. This is their rebranding. It's mainstream Islam. It's not radical Islam. It's not this group of Islam or that group. It's mainstream Islam is evil. Every Muslim is bad. That's what the new messaging is going to be. That's what they're trying to convince you of. By the way, is that Christian? I'm just curious for Christians if you think that that's good, that you should hate a group of people for who they are, like Randy Fine wants you to do. Just curious. I will go to this clip from Randy Fine because what he says at the end of this is quite alarming, and everybody that's for free speech should stand against it.
Without violating their free speech. Sure. And again, I would remind you that there's no First Amendment right to conduct.
There's a First Amendment right to speech. And the things that we're targeting in the bill are not speech. Again, if someone wants to stand across the street from my house and wave a sign on the sidewalk, they have every right to do that. And this bill won't have anything to do with that. But when it veers into conduct, and so the way we're going to approach this is through a hate crime kicker. So if you graffiti a building, it is a crime now. But if your motivation is hate, it will be a third-degree felony. You will spend 5 years in prison.
And how do you measure that?
If you want to litter, it's a crime right now. But if you litter and if your motivation is a hate crime, it will be a third-degree felony.
And who decides
5 years in jail. It is a crime right now to hang banners from an interstate for obvious reasons.
All right, so there you get the point. So he's saying, hey, we support free speech, but hate speech will land you in jail. Well, who decides what hate speech is? Is it Randy Fine? Because I got news for you. Millions of people are going to jail if Randy Fine defines what hate speech is. So there's Randy Fine saying he wants to put you in jail for speech. How does that go? Oh, here we go. This is juicy. This is juicy. So Emily Saves America previously had gone to Israel. She took one of the influencer trips to Israel. I don't know all the details, but I know she went and she showed a lot of support for Israel. And she was attacked relentlessly for showing said support. Okay? So Emily Saves America, like many others in the American media, get offered a trip to Israel to go and wine and dine and show them the country. And she took the trip, and she was very supportive of Israel. Even after all the attacks that came her way afterwards, she stayed strong in her support of Israel. Okay. Well, she then went to Qatar, and she went to the F1 race in Qatar. And now all the pro-Israel voices are attacking her and dragging her down. It's never enough. It's never enough. Now, the irony here is that, and I'm not saying this about any individual, it's just more of a general conclusion that I've reached. Obviously, Israel figured out, like many other special and foreign interests, obviously the Israel lobby figured out that, hey, people in American politics are for sale. Everybody's for sale. For the right price, we can buy anybody up. So they buy up politicians, they buy up members of the media. Well, it looks like Qatar, or maybe other Gulf nation states, or maybe other Muslim states, if you want to phrase it that way, it seems like they've discovered the same thing. It seems like now Gulf nation states and Muslim states are saying, oh, you mean anybody can buy American politicians? Anybody can buy American influencers and get them on our side? Huh? Well, why don't we get into the game? Oh, but now the Israeli lobby that thinks that they have a monopoly over that game, you're not allowed. Oh, you're not allowed. You have to be only loyal to us. We own you now. Well, what happens? What happens if you think somebody's your slave and then they decide that they're not going to be your slave anymore? What do? What does the slave owner do? Well, so now Loomer is attacking Emily Saves America after going to Qatar. So Emily says, where was this energy when I went to Israel? Bingo. You can only be loyal to Israel. Don't you get it now? Don't you understand? And if you don't show nothing but loyalty to Israel, they come after you, folks, and they try to destroy you. Even after you've shown loyalty, even after you've stood up for Israel. It's a totalitarian ideology, folks. It's a totalitarian ideology. I'll let this statement. So now Emily Saves America is getting ruthlessly attacked for going to Qatar. And look, that's why I don't take any of the trips, folks. That's why I turn it all down. Oh, I've been offered both the trips. I've been offered the jobs in the administration. I turn it all down. People make choices. People take the offers. I don't blame them. It is what it is. But I ain't taking it. I ain't going. So Emily said this in response. After Loomer attacks her for going to Qatar, Emily says, these have been my views since day one. All my old posts and videos are still up, and all the people calling me anti-Semitic. It's very clearly everyone's sick of the bullshit, and the irony of you being the biggest shill clearly is hilarious. That is the funniest part, is that all the foreign shills are now raging if somebody goes to Qatar. But again, it's because they're totalitarians. You have to support Israel and Israel only. America doesn't even fit into the equation, folks. You're about to learn that, by the way, in case you haven't already, like we opened this segment with. Because nobody cares this much about somewhere they don't live unless they're being paid. It's not natural at all calling me a Jew hater while I'm on the list for biggest pro-Israel voices is hilarious. I also post anti-Muslim stuff constantly, so you're going to have to try a little harder. Now, I don't know if this is true. I have spoken to Emily. I mean, I don't know if I would say we're friends, but we've been in touch. We're both in media. We've spoken before. I've spoken to her recently. I'm pretty sure her boyfriend is Jewish. I could be wrong, but I think her boyfriend is Jewish, and I think that she hangs out with all of his Jewish friends. So, again, this idea that you can just call anybody an anti-Semite when it's not true, it's not working. It's not working. But that's what they're doing there. Well, Emily wasn't the only one. Another individual that went was Rob Smith. Rob Smith has also been to Israel. Rob Smith says, my first trip to Qatar has been eye-opening. This is a very different Middle East than I experienced as a U.S. Army soldier deployed during Operation Iraqi Freedom, which not a single IDF troop joined him in. But I digress. So he talks about Qatar, and he talks about his experience there, and, he enjoyed it and everything else, and he's proud of it. It's very eye-opening. Oh, but guess what? Same thing happens. Now Rob, who has shown loyalty to Israel in the past, now he must be destroyed. Now he must be burned. A veteran, by the way. An actual combat veteran, by the way. Now he has to be destroyed. How dare you go to Qatar? I am personally so glad. I am personally so glad. And I always pick and choose my battles. You've never seen me attack Rob Smith. You've never seen me attack Emily Saves America. I am very strategic and wise. Maybe I'm a time traveler about the battles I pick and choose. I don't think somebody's bad for taking a trip to Israel. I don't think somebody's bad for deciding what they're going to do to survive in the political world or pay their bills. I don't think you're inherently bad for those decisions. They might be decisions that I would never make. They might be decisions that may raise some ethical concerns, but I don't blame anybody for that. Now, there's a difference between somebody that's an actual agent or operative or an actual subversive individual than somebody that's just playing the game. So I'm personally glad that Emily and Rob went to Qatar. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. You guys just exposed the totalitarian ideology of the Israeli lobby. You just exposed how the entire purpose of the Israeli lobby is to get everybody here loyal to Israel and Israel only. And all you guys had to do was take a trip to Qatar, and you exposed the entire damn thing. And I'm thankful for you. Thank you. I am so glad you did that. And who knows, maybe Qatar is sitting there kind of laughing too, thinking, hey, all we have to do is bring a couple influencers here, take a couple pictures, post it on social media, and the entire Israeli lobby will expose itself foaming at the mouth over it. And then it's exactly what happened. I thank them. Now, here's Melissa Tate. I've met Melissa. She's a nice gal. We've talked before, and to her credit, she at least engages in debate when you have these disagreements. But I don't understand where she's gone in the last couple of weeks. She says, I literally thought this was satire, but no, this is what I've been telling everyone. Islam is buying right-wing influences and journalists. Imagine saying that and not understanding the irony. Imagine saying that and not getting the irony of the entire response to them going to Qatar. By the way, I don't think any of them converted to Islam, which, by the way, you can, I don't even know if I want to get into this. You can convert to Christianity right now. Did you know that? You can become a Christian. You can become a Christian right now. The religion, the faith, you can become a Christian. Same thing with Muslim. You could become a Muslim right now. The faith, the religion, you could become a Muslim right now. Could you become Jewish right now? Could you become of the Jewish faith, of the Jewish church right now? Is it a religion? Just wondering. So then here comes Loomer again. Oh, you gotta love it. Foaming at the mouth. Homosexual Rob Smith. She had to go with the homo first, too. Homosexual Rob Smith. I guess the right-wing intolerance is showing. We're attacking homosexuals now. How's Tel Aviv looking? Because that's an insult now. Homosexual Rob Smith traveled all the way to an Islamic country that executes gay people to gaslight us into believing that as a former veteran, he has no idea Qatar has a U.S. military base. How did you know that gay boys like you are sliced and diced in Qatar? Oh, wow. Gay boys. Gay boys like you, Rob. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Laura, for pushing people that would have been loyal to Israel and loyal to your cause, pushing them away and exposing what the Israeli lobby and the Zionists are really all about. I can't thank you enough. So Rob Smith replies, if you were as deeply concerned for my safety in Qatar as a gay man as you're pretending to be online, some would think that directly posting about my identity would constitute you actively inviting radical Islamists to physically harm me. So either you don't really believe my safety was at risk, or you are actively trying to get me killed. Which one is it, Laura? And she says that, oh, no, you did this to yourself. You tried to get yourself killed. So how did it then? And she says, everybody knew you were gay. Well, yeah. So how was Rob Smith able to go to Qatar as a gay man and the Islam that he sold out to and bought him off or whatever they're accusing? How did he survive it then? Yeah, maybe these people are just lying to you all the time. Maybe their entire purpose was to keep the big lie going. And now that it's been exposed, their true colors, their true nature, their true intent is showing. All right, now we already did one video on the absolute state of MAGA. And that was the interview that I posted from the Pentagon. So we're kind of moving on now. We're going to kind of close this out now, but I started it with the current state of MAGA, and now I will close it with the current state of MAGA. So this is Deborah Lee. This is Deborah Lee. I think she used to refer to herself as a Jewish princess. That was either her or Emily Austin, but I think it was Deborah Lee. She used to refer to herself as a Jewish princess, but I guess she's changed that now. She says, I'm legit freaking out. Trump posted about me by name. I love my president. And Trump did. He said, political commentator Deborah Lee was great on Fox and Friends this morning. Okay. So this was actually very enlightening for me to understand what the isolation that Trump is in right now. It appears now that the only connection that Trump has into the world is Fox News. Now, folks, I'll be a little conspiratorial here, but when you understand how the world works, how the news media works, and how politics works, then this won't sound as crazy as it may. This might sound crazy, but when you understand how things work, this doesn't sound crazy at all. If the powers that be inside of the White House, inside of this administration, know that Trump's only connection to the outside world is Fox News, you know what that means, right? You know that they are heavily manipulating what is on Fox News. Well, guess what? They are. Oh, yeah, they are. Folks, I'm telling you, and you know, look, Trump is the president, and he has to hold the responsibility for a lot of this stuff. But I'm telling you, folks, Trump is being manipulated so badly. Trump is being played, I believe. And you know, it's like, that's not even an insult to Trump. Because you say Trump is smarter than that. Well, Trump's like 80 years old, man. Trump's like 80 years old, and he's got 80 different people going 80 different ways, 80 hours a day. So, yeah, Trump does take some of the blame. He's the president. He's the one. But he's being so manipulated. His only connection to the outside world is Fox News, folks. Can you imagine? That's Plato's cave. That's the allegory of the cave. This is the state of, this is the total state of MAGA. So I've got Deborah Lee hopping around. She's literally in this video hopping around, bouncing up and down. That's really nice with your fake blonde hair. So, okay, she's all excited. And now she's posting about how we need to go after Venezuela. Isn't that nice? She gets the shout out from Trump. And now she's posting about Venezuela. Yeah. That's how that works. Now, I do have more on this. We're not quite done with it yet. So I kind of lied. We do have more. But let me just say this, as this is where the state of MAGA is at. Now, again, folks, I don't take it personally. I don't care. I've been invited for the access. I could get all the pictures. I could have the access. I could do the whole look at me. Okay, I'm not interested in it. So don't take this wrong. This is not a personal thing. This is an example. This is just an example to show you where the state of MAGA is at. President Trump. Now, again, I don't know if somebody put him up to this or somebody else did it or if he did it himself, but this is all I can do is go off the evidence that I have. President Trump is out here fluffing up Deborah Lee, who didn't support Trump in 2016 and didn't support Trump in 2020. You understand? Now, has President Trump ever said anything or done anything about Owen Schroyer? You know, the guy that stood up during the fake impeachment scam and told the Democrats they were committing treason. The guy that was out there on January 6th saying that they stole the election. The guy that went to prison for President Trump. The guy that got censored for supporting President Trump. The guy that spent hundreds of hours on the streets supporting Trump in the face of danger and threats and radical leftists and destroying them. I created an entire content genre on the internet of owning the libs and destroying the Trump protesters. My entire body of work supporting Trump is Mount Everest compared to Deborah Lee. It's like a pimple. But Trump fluffs up Deborah Lee. Trump gives the shout out to Deborah Lee. Is it because she's a hot chick? Is it because somebody told him to do it? Is it because the only part of the world he sees, like Plato's Cave, is Fox News and I'm not allowed on Fox News? That's the absolute state of MAGA. That is the absolute state of MAGA, folks. The guy that actually put life and limb on the line for President Trump. The guy that probably top 5, maybe top 10, probably top 5 most politically persecuted people for their support of Trump. Probably top 10 most impactful people on social media, in the streets, in the culture for Trump, Owen Schroyer. Is Trump interested in fluffing me? Is Trump interested in promoting me? Is Trump interested in making sure people know about me and my work? Nah. But Deborah Lee didn't support Trump 2016, didn't support Trump 2020. Hot blonde bouncing around. Trump, that's what he's into. He's going to fluff her up. The Jewish princess. That is the absolute state of MAGA right there. The absolute state. All right, I got more. I lied. There's more. So, again, they're desperate. They've lost the narrative war so badly with what they've done in Gaza, killing all the kids. So the president of Israel comes out, and he's going to tell you they killed the kids because they were reading Hitler. I'm not even kidding you.
Tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people supporting by their demonstrations, supporting Hamas. I want to show you something exclusive, Laura. So this is Adolf Hitler's book, translated to Arabic, Mein Kampf. It's the book that led to the Holocaust and the book that led to World War II. This is the book that led to his victory in elections in Germany, which led to the worst atrocity of humankind, which the British fought against. Well, this book was found just a few days ago in northern Gaza, in a children's living room.
Actually, I know you're lying, because if that book was found in northern Gaza in a child's living room, it would be partially blown up. It would be partially burned. It would be completely destroyed or damaged because you guys blew up that kid and blew up that house. So the fact that this book is completely untouched, unblemished, tells me that you're lying, and you bought that book to do this propaganda.
Which was turned into a military operation base of Hamas on the body of one of the terrorists and murderers of Hamas.
Oh, it was magically. It was on the terrorist body that they just burned. It's magically untouched. It's like the passports on 9/11.
He wrote notes. He marked and learned again and again Adolf Hitler's ideology of hating the Jews, of killing the Jews, of burning the Jews, of slaughtering the Jews. This is the real warrior act. So
By the way, is any of that in Mein Kampf? Is anything that he just mentioned in Mein Kampf? I don't think that that's true, by the way. I don't think any of that is actually in Mein Kampf. So there's two things here. One, when do we get to move on from World War II era, post World War II era foreign policy and propaganda? Like, we're almost 100 years removed from that, okay? It's crazy to think, but it's true. We're almost 100 years removed from World War II. There's only a small handful of World War II survivors even left. Small handful. You could probably count them. It's probably less than 100. And I'm not just talking about American military, but all over the world. There's probably less than 100 actual survivors of World War II that are actually left. It's almost 100 years ago. We are almost 100 years removed from World War II. When do we get to stop with the post-World War II propaganda? When do we get to stop with the post-World War II guilt tripping and policy making? This is ridiculous. Oh, look, a brand new Mein Kampf that we found as we're killing everybody in Gaza. See, we have to kill them. They were reading Hitler. Who believes this crap? But okay. And we're going to sit here and talk about World War II all day long. And now there's this big debate about Jews. Are they white? Are they not? And it's like, well, don't you know Hitler didn't kill white people? Hitler didn't kill 6 million white people. Really? Well, I don't know. How many people died in the Holocaust? I don't know. Okay, 6 million. So Hitler didn't kill 6 million white people. That's true. That's true. Actually, 80 million white people died in World War II. 80 million white men died defeating Hitler and ending the Holocaust, actually. It's amazing how you never hear that number. Never gets brought up. And somehow, some way, white Christians owe everything to Israel? If anything, it's the exact opposite. If anything, Israel owes everything to the white Western world. And Russia, quite frankly, probably more than anything. It was the Russians that defeated Hitler. It was the Russians that died by the tens of millions defeating Hitler. When do you hear about that? Where's that big history lesson? Where's that pounded into your face every day? No, it's always Holocaust, Holocaust, Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. 80 million white men died defeating Adolf Hitler. 80 million white Christian men died ending the Holocaust. Jews can't be white. Hitler didn't kill white men. 80 million whites died in World War II. And now I have to sit here and get lectured about Hitler from Israel's president? Almost 100 years ago, this war ended. And it was men that looked like me that won the war. It was my lineage. It was my ancestry that beat the Nazis, that ended the Holocaust. And you're going to guilt trip me with a freaking book that's clearly fake propaganda, just like the 9/11 passports? Everyone's sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. Even in Europe, folks. Even in Europe. Carl Benjamin. They've got their parliament members up there going to Israel, visiting Israel, telling everybody in the UK how great Israel is. Same crap here. Yeah, you know, it'd be, if you guys are so much better off without us, if we're so dependent on you, you'd think that this would be the reverse. You'd think it would be like, we're dying to have your support. We're like sick of you and you're like clinging to us, but somehow you think that we're dependent on you. Makes no sense. That's like a leech trying to convince the human that the human needs the leech. That's like a leech or a tick that's stuck on your ass, sucking your blood and telling you, you can't get rid of me. You need me. And then it's just like, no, actually, you're a leech. Flick you off. So Benjamin says, maybe it's an English thing, but I just don't care about Israel, and I don't understand why Ms. Patel is obsessed with it. You know, and this is what I try to say when I have this debate. And I always am, I'm clear about it. And I talk to American Jews about this all the time. They don't run from the debate, by the way. They're perfectly willing to have it. Whether they agree or disagree or have agreements or disagreements. But I always say, because there's no doubt as an American Jew that you very likely grew up in a house where there was a culture that promoted Israel and supported Israel and maybe even loved Israel. I have no doubt about that. I don't hold that against you. I understand that. But you have to understand, most of us didn't. Most Americans, the vast majority of Americans, probably 98% of Americans did not grow up in a household where Israel mattered. We didn't talk about Israel. We don't care about Israel. So I can understand from an American Jew's perspective that grew up in a household and a culture like that. I can understand where they're coming from. But the vast majority of us Americans didn't, and we don't care, and we're sick of it. So I don't hold it against you if you're Jewish and you love Israel. I don't hold it against you at all. In fact, in a way, I kind of feel bad that you're going to have to go through all of this because of the corrupt Israeli lobby, the corrupt Netanyahu regime, and the corrupt neocon military-industrial complex that's going to use a Jewish individual as a political body shield. And they're going to stick an American Jewish individual out there, and they're going to say, see? And we're just sitting here saying, no, this is about a foreign country. This is about a foreign policy. This is about foreign entanglements. This is about foreign aid. And they're going to try to use a Jewish individual as a human body shield. But you have to understand, Americans don't care. They don't care about Israel. And there's no amount of propaganda that you can shove down our face that makes us care about it. And the more you try to do it, the more we're going to dislike it. The more we're going to vomit and regurgitate it back up in your face. But they have to know this. So you have to wonder why they aren't stopping. You have to wonder why they're going over the top. What is the agenda? What is the goal here? What is the end game? What is going to be the final straw? And I don't think the answer to that is good, to be honest. By the way, as I theorized when I was on the Jewcast, actually, I believe when I theorized this, and then when I was on with Ezra Levant, I said this as well. I said there are accounts out there that are intentionally pretending to be Israeli that aren't, in order to foment Jew hatred. Here's an example. This account, it turns out, is in India. They've got an Israeli flag behind them. They put out the Who Did This in America, and it's the 9/11 pictures. And, you know, most people now don't believe the 9/11 official narrative. Some people think Israel did it, whatever. So this is an Indian account with an Israeli flag trying to foment this geopolitical discussion, debate, trying to foment the Israel versus America thing. And these are all foreign accounts that pose as Israelis so that you see that and you're like, oh, here's another Israeli telling me I owe them something. Here's another Israeli telling me this. And it's somebody in India, somebody in Bangladesh, somebody in Pakistan. So there's a lot of that going on. Oh, man, it's a lot, isn't it? I think that might actually be it, though. Well, there's a little bit more. I don't know. I guess you could say these things are kind of connected. But let's go to this. This is Mike Walls at the Israel Hayom Summit. Now, remember, it was Donald Trump that said, Marian Adelson cares more about Israel than America. That is what Trump said. Everybody knows it. Here's what Mike Waltz said at this conference.
Great honor to have you here on the stage. On behalf of myself and the entire team of Israel Hayom, it's a great honor again to have you here.
I think if I speak for many of us here, if Dr. Adelson reaches out, then we figure out a way to get here.
Great.
Isn't that something? Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? If the Israeli loyalist that buys American politicians and American politics to continue to support a foreign country tells us to do something, we do it. It's nice to know, isn't it? It's nice to know. Now, if you live in Mike Wall's district, he wouldn't give you that. If you're an American citizen, you wouldn't get such a courtesy. You wouldn't get such a commitment. But Marian Adelson will. And we all know why. All right, here's a crazy one. Now, I could say we're kind of putting a bookend on that. So let me just do a little separation here. Let me do a little separation. We're putting a bookend on that. This is the last time I'm going to do a giant presentation on the foreign policy issue of Israel. Now, I'm still going to cover the news. I'm still going to continue in my same stance. But as far as this, let's say, a desire, whatever it is in this political world, because you want to convince people to see the world as you see it, or to understand political developments as you do, and then it's, can you do it or not? If you're good and you're right, then people will agree. If you're bad and you're wrong, then people will disagree, and you won't change anybody's minds. I think it's over for me. I don't need to change anybody's mind anymore. It's over. I don't think the debate is being had anymore. I think now it's just fighting. Now it's just nastiness. Now it's just lies. And so that's going to be, this is the last time I'm going to do a committed, that was about an hour and a half. It's the last time I'm going to put together a presentation like that for an hour and a half to convince you of what the real issues with foreign policy are, where the foreign influence is coming from, where the foreign propaganda is coming from, not just literally a location, not just a geographical location. I mean from a spiritual standpoint, where it's coming from. So a political standpoint, a geographical standpoint, and a spiritual standpoint, where it's coming from. It's the last time I'm going to do it. I'm still going to cover the news. I'm not going to change on foreign policy. That's not going to change. I'm just, for the same reason I'm muting when all of these Israel propagandists pop up on my X feed now. I just mute them for the same reason. I'm done. I'm over it. You guys have already lost. It's already over. It's now just you gnashing and wailing, and then whatever damage you're going to do on the way out in your petty petulance. But it's over. You guys have lost. And now it's crossed a threshold where you guys are doing so much damage to your own cause. I just want you to take the platform. I just want you guys to own it. Just keep preaching at Americans, keep lecturing Americans, keep telling them how important the other side of the world is and how much they need to hate Muslims or this group or that person or this person. Keep it up. Keep going. Keep going. The more you guys talk, the more you guys expose yourselves, the more my side of the aisle wins. So keep going. Keep going. Now, I feel bad for the collateral damage that's going to happen, the collateral damage to the country, the collateral damage to individuals. It sucks. It's going to be real bad. It's going to be real nasty. And that's why I'm out. I don't want to be a part of the collateral damage anymore. You guys don't care whose lives you destroy. You don't care. You don't care if it's a Jewish person whose life you destroy. You might even like it because it gives you more fuel for your cause. So I'm out. I'm out. You guys are so spiritually morphed. You guys are so spiritually perverted. You guys are so politically corrupted. I want you to own it. You guys own the stage. It's all yours. Keep preaching. Keep the desperation up. Just keep it up. Just go ahead. Just go ahead. Or you could just stop. Or you can just stop and let America be America. Or you can just stop and let the American people determine their own fate. Or you can just stop and admit that the foreign policy disasters in the Middle East need to stop. But I have a feeling you won't. I have a feeling you won't. Boy, I am jonesing. I got to tell you, it's like wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee to the Israeli loyalists and lobbyists out there that you guys are losing badly. You might want to back off. Wake up and smell the coffee, but I don't think you have an option. So I'm jonesing for coffee. I got to be honest right now. I was thinking about actually taking a break and going downstairs and making a cup of the instant coffee. And you'd say, how can you take time to go out and brew a pot of coffee? I wouldn't have to. I can go to blackoutcoffee.com. I can get the premium instant coffee. I can have a cup of hot coffee done in 2 minutes, maybe less. Maybe I should do a time of it, actually. I bet you I could have a hot cup of coffee in 60 seconds with the premium instant coffee from blackoutcoffee.com. And it is the premium instant coffee. It's very important that you understand. It is premium instant coffee. It's not just the watered down, no flavor, you want to spit it out when you drink it, coffee, instant coffee. No. This is premium instant coffee, tastes like a cup of coffee, has the bold flavor, has the bold finish, gives you what you want. Premium instant coffee from blackoutcoffee.com. They still got the Cyber Monday specials going on here, folks. They're madmen. They're madmen over there at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. Premium instant coffee. Buy 2, get 1 free. Watch this. I'm gonna scroll over here. We're gonna go over to the premium coffee section. They got all kinds of options for you. Look at that. Still got the Cyber Monday specials live. Buy 2, get 1 free. All the different roasts, the light roast, the dark roast, all of them. They can't be that crazy. They can't be also doing it with the single serve pods. There's no way. They've not. Oh, they are. They are. They've lost their minds. Blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. Everything in the coffee section. Buy 2, get 1 free, including the single serve pods, the premium instant coffee, and the bags of coffee. It's all happening at blackoutcoffee.com, the official coffee of the Owen Report. All right, we got about 20 minutes left here. This is crazy. I'm like, are they really doing this? The whole Charlie Kirk thing is just crazy, folks. Okay, it's just crazy. It's beyond crazy, and it's like, it's just crazy. I don't know what else there is to say about it. The whole thing is crazy, and then you hear this, and you're just like, what in the hell is going on? What in the hell is going on? AI Charlie Kirk to promote a message? Tell me no. I hope his wife would stop this. Listen to this. Are we doing AI Charlie Kirk to promote propaganda now?
Yeah. Or AI Charlie Kirk. Absolutely mad. I mean, what happened is bad enough. And a lot of the opportunism and exploitation in the aftermath of that killing is bad enough. But you have mega churches creating AI Charlie Kirk, resurrecting Charlie Kirk to speak from the grave. I would say that I would classify that as desecration and blasphemous. Yeah, and I think that I don't know that these people are all sinister and evil. In fact, that's probably my biggest fear, is that it's just simply aesthetic sensibilities, deep aesthetic sensibilities vary, and these people think they're doing something good.
Yeah, I mean, this strikes me as a possible schism within the Christian right, or maybe you wouldn't say right, but Christian MAGA conceptualized from this room as right, of between people who are in fact really excited about these kinds of apps and people who are horrified by them.
Yes. And a lot of people accept them. Obviously there's a selection bias involved. Those people tend to be repelled by me, so they're not going to talk to me very much, but they're out there.
Yeah.
They fill mega churches.
I mean, in large numbers, because these apps are so popular. We know that they're popular.
Yeah, there's one other thing the mega churches have in common. So here I hear that, and it's pretty obvious, isn't it? It's pretty obvious why somebody would be compelled or think that they need to do an AI Charlie Kirk. Now put aside the assassination and everything that's going on in the aftermath of that, or not going on. And it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious, folks. The biggest clips from Charlie now, despite all the attempts to share all the other stuff that Charlie had said years ago and some other viral videos and stuff, the biggest clips that still get shared every day, 1 million views every day, are the clips where Charlie talks about his most recent takes on Israel, which are not very favorable. His most recent takes on the war in the Gaza Strip, which are not very supportive. And Charlie, who was a Christian, probably felt as a Christian, as a believer, that he can't support it. And that's basically what he said. So I can't support all the killing of these kids. I can't do it anymore. And I'm not going to be pressured to do it. And I'm not going to be pressured to keep people off the stage that don't like it either. So these are now Charlie's most famous videos. These are now Charlie's most viral videos. And when you add it all up, at the end of the day, those are the videos that are going to have more views than any other Charlie video ever. It's when he started to pivot on Israel. That's just true. And this happened right before he was shot. That is just true. So if anybody is interested in making AI Charlie Kirk videos to promote a message specifically in a church or maybe a political event, we all know why. And if those videos start to mention foreign policy, or if those videos start to mention some theological loyalties, that's going to be one of the most ugliest, despicable, lowbrow things that you will ever see. But to the people that would do that, they won't see it that way. They won't see it that way one bit. These are the same people that celebrate dead kids. These are the same people that write their names on bombs and other people's names on bombs. When you're that spiritually separated from good and from God, when you're that spiritually devoid of the creator of this universe, making an AI video of Charlie Kirk to promote your agenda, that's like child's play. Not even a second thought of some sort of an ethical issue with these people. By the way, and I don't know what this is about. Who knows if the FBI is investigating, but there were these pop-ups of the lady who got shot. Her name was popping up. And I don't even know if I saw that this person responded. So the name of the National Guard that was shot was popping up in these search inquiries randomly. It was popping up. So all these got scrubbed. And by the way, the same thing happened with Charlie Kirk. All the names, all the places, Charlie, these search trends in Google, they had blips. They had blips of the name of the alleged shooter. It was all these blips from foreign countries. And it's just like, well, that's weird. You can't say that that's conclusive, but it's certainly odd. It's certainly like, okay, that's investigation worthy. All of it's been scrubbed. And the same thing happened to the National Guard lady, and they scrubbed it again. So I said, what is going on here? Why does this keep happening? There is obviously some type of intervention. So the skiff says, I'm with you. This is also exactly the pattern with the Charlie Kirk assassination. But why would they be so sloppy by not hiding this info? Or is this exactly why they did this, to make it look like they're being set up? Or somebody can do that with an IP and fake an address, fake an IP address, fake a geolocation. Were these National Guardsmen targeted days before, or was it random? What narrative are they trying to sow / want the public to buy? Was this an inside to push a narrative? And did they get caught by being sloppy? Or is it BS? I could go on, but I'm sure you get the point. Keep digging, brother. Folks, I got to tell you. And I already did. I already told you about the Charlie Kirk stuff. I did the digging. It's bad. There's something to it. I don't know what it is. There's something there. There is something there. I don't know what it is. I'm not reaching any conclusions. I'm just saying there is something to these search engine trends with these latest assassinations that is very eye-opening. And the more you dig, the worse it looks. The worse it looks, folks. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it represents, but it's certainly there. Anybody can look into it. It's all well, now it's been scrubbed. Now you can't look into it, actually. And I've been here before, folks. I've been here. I've been it when we've done the digging, and then we go back to the dig site and it's all gone. I've done it. Done it many times. The worst case would have been Pizzagate. It's a crazy world we live in, folks. It's a crazy world. All right, you remember that one girl that went to the TPUSA faith event and called out what she viewed as kind of a despicable presentation? Well, she's back. She's back. She's doing a follow-up video. So I figured since we played the original, we will show you the follow-up. And by the way, maybe just for fairness here, TPUSA is very diverse. There's a lot of different cast of people and characters and viewpoints and perspectives. So it looks like this is mostly just about Turning Point Faith and some of the preachers that are up there. This is not about TPUSA as an organization or maybe some of the heads or even some of the other personalities affiliated. This seems to be mostly with these TPUSA events where they spend most of the time attacking people and name calling people before they even talk about faith or the gospel. So here she is doing a follow-up.
So if you don't know, I'm the girl that made the video about TPUSA faith and how my experience was awful and that I went there for faith-based politics and I got a lot of propaganda and a lot of hate and a lot of division from the pastor, John Manchuku. That video is now going viral on Twitter and everyone has a lot to say about it. But not only that, but Miss Candace Owens actually reposted it. Thanks, Candace. Big fan. But guess who else saw it? The speaker, John Manchuku. And also, I got quite an interesting message from the senior director of TPUSA Faith that I thought I should share with everyone. Like, there's no closed doors anymore. We're going to talk about it. First, John Manchuku's response. He told me that I was acting. That's great. Good to know that if someone comes on and gives you criticism for bringing hate and division in a faith-based room in a church, good to know that that's acting. Thanks for that. I'm also being called a leftist troll. The most ironic and funny thing that I've heard all year. I used to get bullied in school because of.
By the way, this is such an important thing that I want you to understand. And I've talked about this before, but in case you didn't hear it before, you need to hear it now. To the people that have heard me preach this before, I'm sorry for the redundancy. This is such an important point right here. And when we get into the political psychology of it, because this happens to me all the time. And now it's happening to her, and now it's happening to other people, like we just brought up with Rob Smith or Emily Saves America, or all kinds of people, or Carl Benjamin. When people, this was a big learning experience for me, actually, when I worked for InfoWars and when I worked for Alex Jones. This maybe, of all the different things that I learned from my 10 years at InfoWars, this might have been the most important takeaway for me. People will say things, they will report things as fact, as if they know it, even though it's completely untrue. Now, I could give you some examples with just Alex, but obviously Alex Jones was in the news all the time, all kinds of hit pieces on Alex, and I had a very close relationship with Alex. I worked for Alex. I saw Alex every day. I knew what was true and what wasn't true. And I would see these people say things about Alex and report things about Alex or what he's done. And I'm just sitting there reading. I'm like, I know for a fact this is not true. I know for a fact you are lying about Alex Jones. Now they're convinced they figured it out. They're convinced that they're a genius and they've figured it out. And I'm sitting there like, you don't understand how wrong you are. And I happen to know. And so there were two takeaways from this. One, it was, as soon as I see that from somebody, then it's like, I can never trust you again. As soon as I see you thinking that you're a genius and you figured something out that I know is not true, I can never trust you again. Now, that's just about Alex. The same thing happens to me. So like what she's talking about here, she's like, oh, somebody says I'm a leftist troll or somebody says I'm an actor. She knows it's not true. She's her. Same thing with me. Somebody says, you're a fake MAGA plant. You're a liberal plant. You're an anti-Semite. I'm me. I know none of those things are true. So you start saying those things, you look like an idiot. And I will never respect anything you ever say or report again because I know you're wrong and you're not even interested in the truth. So it was a big takeaway for me to understand that psychology, that people will just jump to conclusions about you and report and say things about you that are completely untrue, but they think they're genius. They figured it all out and they're totally wrong. So that was the one takeaway. And then the other takeaway for me was, I never want to be that person. I want to make sure that I'm never that person. And that's why the whole thing with Jake yesterday was like, all right, Jake had an issue with what I said. I said, fine, come on the show then. You can correct it. Now, you may have liked how it went. You may have not have. I'm just saying, I learned that lesson because I don't want to be looked at like that. So now she's going through it. Imagine all the people that are going through the same thing with all the accusations and the name calling, and they think they figured it out. Oh, you're a Democrat plant. Oh, you're fake MAGA. And none of it's true. And they're just like, wow, you people are nuts. You people are psychotic. And you're not even close to reality.
how conservative I was, so thanks. But now we'll get into the response of Lucas Miles, who is the senior director of TPUSA Faith, because honestly, I think this has a lot more depth than I originally thought. His response is way more detrimental to this whole situation than this guy. So in case you needed reasons to be pro-Israel, this is what the senior director of TPUSA Faith has to say about it. Pause to read it yourself. Basically, he's saying that we should let the Jews come to faith. He thinks that God wants the Jews to come to faith, so as Christians, we should just let Israel completely commit war crimes and starve the people in Gaza and bomb them, and yeah, because the Jews should come to faith, you know. Second, I think this one is actually more ridiculous than the first one, hard to believe. Here you go. I am also pro-Israel because if they fall, almost every important historical site for Christians will be destroyed by Islamists. So, yep, we're just going to let Israel.
Now, by the way, that may or may not be true. Honestly, I don't care, but a lot of people would probably disagree. A lot of people probably do care. I don't care, so just take that for what it's worth. If that's even true, but hold on a second. And this is why I go back to saying, have you even read the Quran? All right. And I already hear, oh, Islamicist sympathizer. Shut up. Answer the question. Have you read the Quran? Because the Muslim faith recognizes the virgin birth. The Muslim faith recognizes Jesus Christ as a prophet. Read the Quran. You'll find it's basically an entire section of the New Testament is in the Quran. So if the Muslims think that Jesus was a prophet, and these are holy sites, why would they go destroy them? Now, okay, backing off of that for a second, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if some radical jihadi group are they even religious? Are they even spiritual? No, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if some radical jihadist terrorist group or some proxy army that's sitting around waiting to blow something up would want to go into Israel and start destroying stuff, or into Jerusalem or these holy sites and start destroying stuff. I'm not doubting that that could be true. But I do have to wonder. Then, are these even Muslims, or are they just proxy groups of terrorists? Because Muslims actually show more faith or respect maybe towards Jesus Christ than Jews do, at least in the modern Zionist sense. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's my interpretation. That's my experience.
Bomb innocent people and kill them and commit basically a genocide, ethnic cleansing, because we want our historical sites. Obviously. He then goes on to say, we work with 8,000 pastors. There isn't one sole TPUSA faith view on this. I wish that were true. I wish I could believe that, but I was calling out John Amanchukwu, and he's now calling me a leftist troll because I disagreed with what he said. So I find it hard to believe that you have other pastors in here that agree with me, because you guys clearly don't. And if I'm being called a leftist troll and many other colorful things for that, it's just hard to believe.
Now, I'm a little confused by what she just says there. But if she's saying what I interpreted, it's that the pastor is saying that there are a lot of people with maybe her views on Israel or her views on Gaza inside Turning Point USA. That is true. That is actually very true. And I mean, I don't even know if it's worth me getting into, but I mean, folks, the Turning Point team is really young. I mean, there are a lot of young people, especially kind of at the ground level there, with their influencers and their college campus sites. So that's what I was saying earlier. Turning Point USA is an extremely large and diverse group of people. Now, you can talk about the leadership or the general direction, and that's one thing. I mean, I'll just say it like it is. A lot of these young Turning Point USA chapter leaders or what have you, let's just say they're way more aligned with Nick Fuentes than Ben Shapiro. I'll just put it like that. So if that's my interpretation of what this pastor is saying to her, that, hey, there's actually a lot of people in our organization that agree with you, that is actually true. There are the Turning Point USA influencer team is very diverse. Most of them probably more aligned with Nick Fuentes than Ben Shapiro, quite frankly. Now, you want to talk about the leadership and the direction of everything, that's a separate issue. But of the thousands of people involved, it is actually a very diverse group as far as political thoughts are concerned. So I actually think that the pastor here, if that's what he's saying, he is being honest with her there. So she might not believe it, but I can tell you that is true. Should we finish the video? We'll finish the video. We're almost out of time. We'll let the video conclude.
He's also coming to the defense of John Manchukuo on Twitter. But it's funny. He's not coming to the defense about what he said about Candace Owens or Israel. He's actually coming to the defense of him calling the left names like freak, idiot, loser. Here's your screenshot. So he's giving examples as to why that's okay, because Jesus did these things. Interesting. So you think it's okay to just go and call people's names and spread hate and division instead of like saying, hey, the left is lost, we should share the gospel with them, we should be kind to them and show them like how Jesus would.
By the way, those quotes in the scripture, those quotes of the gospel are speaking truth to power, which is like kind of the point here. It's like we're trying to speak truth to power and you're telling us not to, and then you're going to quote scripture of speaking truth to power while stopping us from speaking truth to power. Okay.
Treat these people. It's actually okay to call them freaks, idiots, and losers. Got it. That's a pastor. That's a pastor. John Manchukuo has also commented on my videos, but all over Twitter, that he doesn't regret a thing that he said. Honestly, I wish people like this would give a good Christian example and show some humility and get on there and be like, you know what? I was wrong. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. But they can't do it. If you're going to take anything from all of this, it's do your own research and don't trust people like this. If you're going to look for faith-based politics, open your Bible. Just read the Bible. Because at the end of the day, we can argue all we want, but really there's only one truth and it lies within those words. So if you want to find truth, just crack it open.
Well, I'm out of time for today. I do have more on this, though. I do have more on this specifically from other people responding to Turning Point USA. And then the one issue that she just brought up about kind of this guilt trip of Christians, or this directional guilt trip of Christians over what it is you're supposed to support or not, or all of this stuff. So I do have a follow-up on that, but we're going to have to do a deep tease, and we're going to have to hold that off till tomorrow because we are out of time for today. But that was a heavy one. Did some heavy lifting today. How's everybody? Are we all right? Did we make it through? Can we still smile and enjoy life? What are you gonna do when you sign off? I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna get a haircut. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go get a haircut. Should I just chop it all off, guys? I think I'm gonna chop it all off. I think I'm sick of it. So I think I'm just gonna chop it all off. I may come back tomorrow. I think I'm gonna have a shaved head. I'm just kind of. I'll do a shaved head, a shaved face too, trim the beard or shave it completely. No, that's what I'm going to do tonight. Just shut it down, really. Just shut down the Barry Gibb, the Sir Barry Gibb look. Just shut it down. I'm going to go with a bald head. I'm going to go with a Mark Levin look, maybe, except with a shaved face too. I'm going to go with a bald head look. All right, I'm just kidding. I actually am going in to get a haircut, though. That is what I'm doing. That's why I got to get off here. How short will my hair be tomorrow? You're going to have to tune in to find out. So I've got 2 deep teases running you right now. That's what's happening. All right, guys. That does it for today's transmission. God bless. Godspeed. 21-hour break. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same channel.